Hello, hello, hello! Kaim Kasasagi Usagi, I am here with more Phoenix Wright. I am very sorry for the delay. We're getting about 10 minutes late. My apologies. Ugh, it has been a bit of a rough morning. I have a couple things to do before we hop right into it. Thank you so much, the Frog Tuber. I know who you are. They followed on my day off, I do believe. And thank you! This was, sometime last night, I assume. We are on the DLC case, I believe. Oh man, I don't remember. Somebody died in Edgeworth's car, or someone was murdered in Edgeworth's car. Oh, my chat has decided to be down there. Someone died in Edgeworth's car, and Edgeworth is not the suspect, but he is the prosecutor, which seems like a conflict of interest, but this game certainly doesn't care about anything like that. Oh, and we have a new assistant because Maya went home, and her name is Emma Sky, and she's very cute, but her sister is the one that's being accused of doing the murders. How did the investigation go yesterday, Mr. Wright? Frankly, there are still a lot of gray areas. Or rather, the whole thing is one big gray area. Don't worry about me, no matter what the outcome. I'm ready to accept my fate. I believe in you, sis. Mr. Wright, let me offer you a word of advice. Yes. A defense attorney should never believe their client. The defendant is called to trial because they are suspected of wrongdoing. Never forget that. Miss Sky, you remind me a lot of Mia. But there is one decisive difference between you and her. And that is, you're not a defense attorney. I believe it's almost time for the trial. Good luck, Mr. Wright. My first trial without a Fae helping me. No one's gonna bail me out this time. That's true. No magic. I'll be alone in there. So I have to discover the truth all by myself. Let's do it, Mr. Wright. I'll be with you the whole way. I think Emma Sky is pretty good too. She's got science on her side. But I've played enough Overwatch to know that nothing is stronger than science. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor. Edgeworth. It's been 2 months, but I haven't been in a courtroom since his trial. I hope that personal feelings will not be a part of this proceedings today, Mr. Wright. I will choose the path I think is right, regardless of what those around me might say. The judgment to be made here is in our hands, not those of anyone else's. Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. Your opening statement, please. Chief Prosecutor Lana Sky has committed an unpardonable crime. Not only this, but she was rash enough to commit it in the prosecutor's office lot. Wow, he's much more forceful in person. I suddenly feel like confessing to everything. However, she will pay for her rashness with her life. There was a witness to her crime. A professional witness. Well then, call your first witness, Mr. Edgeworth. The prosecution calls its first witness, Miss Angel Star, to the stand. The cough-up queen. I forgot about that, and I still hate it. Haven't I seen you somewhere? You ordered the caviar lunch, right? Oh, caviar! I've never eaten caviar before. The judge is really wolfing it down. And for you, I have the Fiesta Bowl. Thanks. Will the witness state her name and profession? And you, sir? Did you order the fingerprint lunchbox? It is too early for lunch. Your name and profession, please. Well, Your Honor, how does it taste? So this is why everyone raves about caviar. It's so tasty it hurts! I always thought caviar would taste like pickled tapioca. What the heck does pickled tapioca taste like? Name? Profession? No. Me? The name is Angel Star. Don't go forgetting it. I find myself running Lunchland these days. Is that what you wanted me to say, Mr. Edgeworth? Very well, witness. Please describe the incident to us. The prosecution will wait. I'm not finished eating. Hurry up. Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. As you know, we usually call on the police to provide a description of the crime. Your Honor, as Mr. Edgeworth has said to the court... Hello? Hello, Sprightly. I am a professional. What exactly does that mean? Until 2 years ago, Miss Angel Star was a special investigator with the police. She was a first-rate homicide detective. What? Miss Star was a detective? Oh, ha! I know who you are. Cough up, Queen Angel Star, Your Honor. Long time no see. Well, cough up makes a little more sense now. I still don't have to like it, and I won't. Very well. You may continue with the description, Miss Star. Just who is this lady? If I might have the court's attention over here. The parking lot at the prosecutor's office is divided into 2 blocks. A block is for the prosecutor's office personnel. B block is for visitors and clients. A chain divider separates the 2 blocks. I suppose that's to keep visitors from taking up prosecutor's spaces, yes? The crime took place by a car in the back of A block in the car's trunk. The killer stabbed the victim. The killer stabbed the victim with the knife and went to drive the body out. Me? I'm no criminal. Unfortunately for her, there was a witness and an arrest was made on the spot. And who was this valiant witness? Why, it was me, Your Honor. Witness, did you see the very moment of the crime? Of course, Your Honor. Immediately after that, I apprehended the chief prosecutor. It seems rather cut and dry, doesn't it? Well, Mr. Wright. I can't agree on principle, Your Honor. It seems that some poor losers are unwilling to accept the truth, Your Honor. Shall I proceed to crush what little hope they have remaining? If you can, then give them your worst, Miss Star. Wait, are they talking about me? Somehow, I always knew a day like this would come. I was on my way to deliver a lunchbox to my boyfriend, but I sensed something. Perhaps it was my finely honed detective's intuition at work. Through the wire fence, I saw the chief prosecutor standing next to a garish car. The chief prosecutor was holding a knife in her right hand. Then she thrust the pointy tip of the knife into Detective Goodman's chest. That doesn't make any sense, actually. Bringing a lunchbox to your boyfriend. How touching. As you can see, there is no room for doubt. The key point of your testimony seems to be nothing other than the point of the knife which you saw being stabbed in Detective Goodman. So, how does it feel to be so utterly crushed? I'm still thinking about that. It's merely a flesh wound, Mr. Wright. Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness. How did she make the arrest if there's a fence separating... I don't know about any of this. I also... If I'm remembering that parking lot correctly, I don't think she could have seen the murder all that well. Mr. Edgeworth's car was behind, I think, a pillar. Somehow, I always knew a day like this would come. How did you know? I respect the prosecutor's basic abhorrence of crime. Yet their methods are ugly and twisted. And twisted methods will always lead to tragedy. The lunch lady's uninformed opinion is duly noted. given that they are used to erasing inconvenient evidence at their whim. Killing off a detective that knew too much is merely an extension of that. Miss Starr, do you have something personal against prosecutors? I felt that I had found my dream job when I became an investigator, and if I hadn't been laid off by those prosecutors over there, I'd still be one. Laid off? She was fired. To me, prosecutors are nothing more than worms. That said, I'm a pro, as you know. My testimony is unbiased and flawless. Very well. You may continue, Miss Starr. I was on a way to deliver a lunchbox to my boyfriend. This boyfriend, he's the detective? Not that boyfriend, the security guard. That boyfriend? You have several? Yes, this boyfriend, that boyfriend, and the other boyfriend. Care to join? The yet another boyfriend position is still open for applicants. I'll stick with the lunches, thanks. Note to self, the judge had to think before replying. The security guard room is in the lot, in A block. It's up on the second level, so you can see everything from there. That would be the room with the security sign. Incidentally, did you bring your lunchboxes by car? Since I'm a visitor now, I've parked in B block. So she was in B block when she witnessed the crime. When I said something, perhaps it was my finely honed detective's intuition at work. You sensed something? So you're saying you had a premonition of the murder? It felt like, how would you say, oh yes. It was like the feeling you get when you view a pumpkin chock full of seeds. I have no idea what that means. Speaking of a detective's intuition, wasn't the victim, Mr. Bruce Goodman, also a detective? Yes, well, he was like a young cheese. A young cheese. A pale white cheese, not yet tangy with experience on the streets. A greenhorn. Then I must be hard-yellowed and sharp as tack. Yeah, with the odor of an old cheese to match. In any case, there, in the lot, I felt something stirring in the back of my mind. Through the wire fence, I saw the chief prosecutor standing next to a garish car. See, this is where I'm not actually going to present this. I just want to look at it. Oh no, she could see it. I thought there was a... It was if she was in the security room that she couldn't see it. But she said she was in B block. By garish car, you mean Mr. Edgeworth's car, yes. Mr. Edgeworth! Incidentally, the knife with which the victim was stabbed was also Mr. Edgeworth's. Yeah, I'm trying to piece it together. Wasn't it? Indeed it was. Even if she could see it, her getting there in time to do an arrest seems very bizarre. What an odd case this is. And the person you saw, you were sure it was the defendant? I saw her from no further than 30 feet away. I am certain it was her. If she's telling the truth, we're doomed. Let's just do what we can. Even if we don't have any proof, we can always nitpick. Witness, in your testimony, you clearly stated the following. Prosecutors are nothing more than worms, ergo. You are a biased witness. You might want to keep those silly opinions to yourself in the future, rookie. Rookie? Unless you're willing to risk the consequences of doubting me. I'll fry you like a fritter, crispy on the outside, chewy on the inside. That was inspiring. I believe I've heard that tagline elsewhere. You could cry plagiarism. I may be relegated to the lowly post of lunch lady, but my instincts are honed. A photograph? You took this? The moment I witnessed the crime, my reflexes took over and snap, I took a picture. In fact, one of my lunchboxes is rigged with a camera. I suppose that's more exciting than just hanging it around your neck. Witness, why am I only seeing this photograph just now? You think I'd show it to you? A prosecutor? Think again. My boyfriend works in the photography division of criminal affairs. Well, this most certainly is the defendant. Uh-oh, that is unmistakably Lana Skye. Is she wearing Detective Goodman's coat? That's really fucked up. I don't know why it doesn't let people say bitch, but only sometimes. That's so weird. You're fine. You are clearly not silenced. So what was the defendant doing at the time? The chief prosecutor was holding a knife in her right hand. Oh. Tell me more about the knife that the suspect was carrying. Well, I'd say the blade was about 4 inches long. Is that right, Mr. Edgeworth? It is your knife, after all. Yes, that's about right. Prosecutors are, by nature, well-versed in the location of a man's vital organs. I'm sure it was easier than boiling an egg for my egg salad surprise set. You can't testify as to her ability to kill an egg. I mean a person. Well, perhaps a chicken salad set would have been a better metaphor. So the defendant was holding a knife. What then? Then she thrust the pointy tip of the knife into Detective Goodman's chest. Tell the court why you didn't try to stop this crime. You did see her raise a knife to strike, no? The defense has a point. Unfortunately, by the time I realized what was going on, it was already too late. Too late. Yes, the next moment, the chief prosecutor brought down the murder weapon. I see. It's only a flesh wound, Mr. Wright. We can make it. You said that before. Anything else? Scientifically speaking, Miss Starr's testimony is flawless. Sounds pretty fatal to me. What do we do? Is this it? Is my sister guilty? Let's just keep our heads cool and press the witness a bit, shall we? For some reason, having her panicking next to me makes me calmer. Don't smile like that. It's gotta be, well, now that we have evidence that says that she took a picture, she definitely did see it through the wire fence. Oh, wait a second. It took him an hour and a half to die. But I don't know where to object to that. It's just her shoving the body in the car. And clearly on the other side of the fence. I actually am at quite a loss. Where? Because she's clearly on the other side of the fence. It did make it sound like she was in security. Yeah, she was on her way to deliver it, but then she was clearly on the other side of the wired fence. Yeah, so through the wire fence I saw the chief prosecutor standing next to a garage car, and then her picture also shows that she was on the other side of the fence. She never said she was at the security station, only that she was heading there. This boyfriend, he's a detective? No, it's the other boyfriend. The judge is like, I don't want to be anybody's boyfriend. 0 to your guard room is in the lot in AB. It's up on the 2nd level. You can see everything from there. But you can't actually see Edgeworth's car from there. That would be the room with the security sign. And then she's like, but I was parked in B block. Because she's not a prosecutor, so she has to be in B block. She has to park there. Yeah, everything she said thus far has, there's nothing I can do. I can't press about the security camera because there's no way for me. That'll probably come later. There's a couple things that will probably come later. I need the starting evidence to sort of get all this rolling. Oh, I can actually check this. Loss of blood from chest wound. Wound was caused by a 4.5-inch knife. A single stab wound was found. Damn, she even got the size of the knife right. the only thing I can think of, and feels like such a nitpick, which is to say that she's not holding a knife in the photo. Well, there's no knife in her hands. But I figure it's in the... that feels like absurdly nitpicky. But it's the only thing I can think of. Because, like, the body's already in there, so I assume the knife is in there, too. Unless she was caught with the knife in her hand. But that I don't remember. It's literally the only thing I can press. I guess the moment of the crime, he's just nowhere to be found. That's true. Alright, we'll do this. Oops. Alright, here we go. I keep hitting all the wrong buttons. Oh. And you witnessed this? You saw Miss Sky stab the victim with the knife? As I've already said, yes! I swear it on my finest salmon swirl lunch. I'm sure that is a fine lunch. But isn't that odd? Look at this photograph. This is the photograph you took of the very moment of the crime, is it not? Then why is Miss Sky not holding a knife? I will say, for localizing it, they're not doing a bad job with the lunches and stuff, because that probably was like salmon sushi or something. And they give them like cute little like the fingerprint lunch and stuff to. It's unnecessary localizing all the same, but they're not calling them hamburgers, which is a step up from what they were doing before. Mr. Edgeworth, your thoughts? Objection. That had to be the weakest objection ever, Edgeworth. Yet it was still stronger than your ever-feeble mind, Mr. Wright. Damn, you got him. What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? This photograph was not taken the moment before the stabbing. This was taken the moment after the stabbing. And you can tell that... blood splatter. Yeah, that's just the logic that I drew from it. I was like, well, it's clearly taken after the fact. But... she claimed it was of, so you have to take it as of. Huh? See the dark crimson stains on the chief prosecutor's coat? But it's a black and white photograph! Oh yes, it's hard to tell, but this could be blood. Well, Mr. Wright, I see no problem here. No problem, except you... Mr. Wright, are you going to just sit there and take that kind of abuse? You got a better idea? Objection? Wait, that contradicts what the witness said in her testimony. Namely, that she took the picture the moment she witnessed the crime. Well, it seems I was slightly unclear. My apologies. That's it? If you run out of lunch, you order seconds. Problem solved. If you don't like it, try ordering a jumbo-sized lunch from the get-go. Good advice. I'm not sure I understood it, but good advice. I didn't have time to stop her. Prosecutor Sky was cold, calculating, like a robot. She killed without pain or remorse. It was a premeditated murder. Premeditated? How do you know? Look at the chief prosecutor's hands in that photograph. Well, are those gloves? Surgical gloves, made of thin rubber most likely. Why would she have those on? If it was not premeditated, she would not be wearing those gloves. Those gloves do seem to tell a tale of premeditation. Premeditated murder, a serious offense. Witness, add this to your testimony. Okay, now we can start pulling things apart. The murder was planned. The rubber gloves prove it. It's only a flesh wound, Mr. Wright. We can make it. You said that before. Oh, we really are just gonna... Alright. Oh, shit. I wish we wouldn't do that every time, my friends. Murder was planned, the rubber gloves prove it. What if she was just in the habit of wearing gloves, like driving gloves? The gloves were admitted as evidence when the defendant was arrested. They were rubber gloves of the kind used for autopsies. In other words, when the chief prosecutor came to the crime scene, she came to do murder. It's the only possible conclusion you can make. Everything was planned. It was a premeditated crime. Ugh. Impressive. I'm sorry they took you off the force, Miss Starr. This is bad. She just got them thinking it was all planned. If she can prove this claim, the trial's already over. I've got to think of a way to show that this wasn't premeditated. It's only a flesh wound, Mr. Wright. We can make it. Oh, again with this dialogue. Well, now what evidence do I have to say that it wasn't premeditated? If it's premeditated, then Edgeworth also has to be in on it. She's a lunch lady, but she used to be a detective. This is why I don't think it's premeditated, because she used a man's car that just rolled into the parking lot 3 minutes beforehand. Witness, do you know what this is? Are you trying to test me? I sell lunchboxes for a living, you know. That's a knife. The knife. The knife that was in Mr. Edgeworth's trunk. Indeed, it is my knife. What's with this case? The bloody murder weapon, a red car, all belonging to the prosecutor there? The defendant is the chief prosecutor for the district, right? Homie, are prosecutors bad people? The defense has a request. We ask that the witness provide an accurate testimony. What's that, Rookie? In your testimony, you stated that Lana Skye planned this murder. And that's why she was wearing those special gloves. Seems like a natural conclusion to me. The gloves do indicate planning. However, why would she not also prepare the most important thing, the murder weapon? Oh. The knife just happened to be in the trunk of that car. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to plan a murder, you don't forget the weapon. Order, order, order. Great, now that the tide is turning in our favor. Great show, Mr. Wright. My sister's as good as free. Right. I believe the next lunch you'll be eating is humble pie. What? I hope you weren't deluding yourself into thinking that the tide has turned. Not over such a trifling detail. What? But this shoots a hole on the whole premeditated theory. Bah! The prosecution could care less if it was premeditated or not. The only one who seems to care is the lunch lady over there. It was in his toolbox for, like, car trouble things. You know, in the trunk. The defendant, Lana Skye, murdered a detective with a knife. That is the only thing the prosecution need prove. Nothing else. Very good, Mr. Prosecutor. I suppose you think you're clever now. But you know as well as I do that you planned on killing him. It was planned. If it wasn't, why would she have been wearing... I believe I'd like to hear your testimony again. Witness, please tell us only what you saw and not what you thought. How dare you? My powers of deduction are not to be underestimated. Really now. Lana Skye intended to murder Detective Goodman. That's why she called the victim all the way to the prosecutor's office. I'm sure the chief prosecutor had a grudge against the victim. Nothing else could drive that human machine to plunge the knife in again and again. I think I already see the victim was summoned from the police department to the prosecutor's office. It does sound a lot like premeditation, doesn't it? So, if I ordered a pizza, does that mean I'm planning to kill the delivery boy? Yeah, he specifically told her to only say what she saw, and then she threw a whole fucking game theory video on his feet. In any case, the defense may now cross-examine the witness. Lana Skye intended to murder Detective Goodman. You've said that, but you haven't told us how you know. That's what I'm about to tell you, rookie. I believe that's what she said is a mere prelude to all the stories she's about to tell. Try not to interrupt her again, rookie. Never interrupt a storyteller. It's like pulling a bun out of the oven half-baked. Something half-baked here already, and it's you. Try not to confuse the defense witness. They're not very quick on their feet. Now, why did you believe the suspect had intentions to murder the victim? Her actions speak for themselves. That's why she called the victim all the way to the prosecutor's office. You have no proof that Miss Skye called him there. You have no proof that she didn't. Mr. Edgeworth, thoughts? There is no record of a call made on the defendant Miss Lana Skye's phone. She might have written him a letter. Come on, you could have tried public phone first, at least. Why won't it let anyone say bitch anymore? It's very confusing. In any case, the victim came to the prosecutor's office where he was murdered. I'm sure he had a reason to be there. Witness, why do you think it was the suspect who summoned the victim that day? I actually think it's TwitchBot that's doing this. Let me try and fix this really quickly, because it's being more wily than usual. Oh yeah, it did reset itself. Maybe Yak can finally speak. Oh, I wish I had bacon. There. Swear all you like, Yak. What kind of grudge? Well, I wouldn't know that. Of course you don't. That's because she didn't have a grudge. Rookie. I have a lunchbox here. Now, what's inside? How am I supposed to know? See? We agree that there is a lunchbox here, but we don't know what's inside. A person's life is like a lunchbox with pretzels. Don't you agree? I get it. That's why my lunch was so salty. This judge isn't very good with metaphors. The suspect had a grudge against Detective Goodman. Will you tell us your basis for thinking this? It's simple. Nothing else could drive that human machine to plunge the knife in again and again and again. A human machine? That's a contradiction. Please. Can't you find fault with something of substance, Mr. Wright? Note to self, Mr. Edgeworth's eyes smell like citrus fruit. You say again and again. How many times did she stab him exactly? We often say chop into 1,000 pieces, but we don't actually mean 1,000 pieces. What difference does it make if the deed is done? How come she's getting mad at me? Let's just say she stabbed him several times and leave it at that. Leave it at that? This is a murder case, people. Mr. Wright, you should speak up if you have an objection, you know? Miss Starr has turned out to be as short-tempered as she looked when we met her. Challenging her abilities as a detective really set her off. The short wick burns out the fastest. It's a scientific fact. I wonder, wouldn't it depend on the size of the candle? I mean, add more wax and even a really short wick will burn longer. Obviously, more scientific testing is required. Okay. Well. Oh my god. Okay. One knife wound. It's just the one. You say she stabbed him again and again, but you couldn't have witnessed that. Are you testing me? Then I'll test you. With my moss surprise. I'm afraid the moss is growing under our feet as we wait, Miss Starr. What do you mean? I shouldn't have to explain this, but take a look. This autopsy report states that the death was due to a loss of blood from one stab wound. Aha, you're right. Good show, Mr. Edgeworth. What a hunk! He's my hero, really. What about my objection? No one noticed. Well, witness, you got the crime scene set, right? Oh, thanks. I always believed that no one could ever mistake ketchup for blood, but now I realize that such mistakes are possible. So, you're saying you mistook something for blood? When she lifted her knife, I thought I saw blood at her breast. Splattered blood from her victim. That's why I thought she must have stabbed him at least twice. Then tell us what you saw that you thought was blood. Testify. Her red muffler looked like blood to me. That's how ghastly the whole scene was. I don't think she's wearing a muffler. Looks like you're here forever with me, Sprightly. Her red muffler? Yes, like a scarf. The chief prosecutor always wears one around her neck, so she can be easily hanged at a moment's notice, I suppose. That's super dark to say. She's right. Miss Skye was wearing a red scarf, wasn't she? But wait, isn't it odd that you mistook that for splattered blood? Well, people often mistake my beard for a bib. A judge with a bib. That's why this place feels so much like kindergarten sometimes. Actually, I do think I saw some traces of blood on her chest. However, the autopsy report is clear on this matter. There was only one knife wound. Apparently, Miss Starr isn't entirely sure of her own testimony. Mr. Wright, this is our chance. Chance for what, I wonder? Miss Starr has turned out to be as short-tempered as she looked when we met her. Challenging her abilities as a detective really set her off. And we're talking about candles again. She's not wearing a red muffler. Miss Starr, I demand an explanation. The witness is clearly not suited for detective work. What? The suspect was not wearing a scarf or muffler of any kind when she stabbed the victim. I appreciate that Edgeworth and I are double teaming this woman, like true bros, but can I please do my job, Mr. Edgeworth? And you've proved it yourself with this photograph. Huh? That can't be! Only a professional lunch lady could be so utterly clueless. That's a little mean. Congratulations. Perhaps you finally found your true calling in life. Harsh words, but good. In the end, Mr. Edgeworth prevails. What was my objection? Chopped liver? but it was there. A scarf. No, not that, but something red, really. Well now, where were we? The witness has given us an entertaining interlude, but back to business. What? Very well, witness. Continue your testimony. You saw the crime and apprehended the suspect. Tell us about that. Very well. I do remember some things accurately, at least. Ultimately, we couldn't shake the most important part of her testimony. The most important part? The part where your sister stabs the victim. The next testimony might just be the moment of truth. This is where it might get spicy. After the murder, the suspect attempted to run behind a partition off to her side. I quickly caught her, explained her rights to her, and arrested her on the spot. Ah yes, when I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's what had me confused in my earlier testimony. The chief prosecutor made to escape, but against Angel Star, resistance is futile. You are quite determined about this scarf, aren't you? I strike like a snake and bite like a cobra. That's me, Angel Star. And that wasn't a very good metaphor. First of all, a cobra is a kind of snake. Don't bother me with details unless you want to get bitten. No thanks. Note to self, Mr. Wright is weak against poisonous snake bites. The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside, kicked over an oil drum. An oil drum? Hard to imagine. Yeah, it is. That is what it is. Because she's got, like, the rice ball hat and the little octopus necklace. Oh, she's beautiful but deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. Rawr! Very well, Mr. Wright. Your cross-examination, if you will. After the murder, the suspect attempted to run behind a partition off to her side. So where is this partition on the floor plans? I'm sure she means this wall next to the car. That's right. There's a wall there, about 6 feet high. She was obviously trying to hide herself. Quite a natural thing to do for a criminal. And what did you do then? I quickly caught her and explained her rights to her and arrested her on the spot. You say quickly. Were you close to the suspect? As I just said, I was only 30 feet away from her the whole time. There's so many things wrong with what's being said. Maybe I should press her for more details. Yes. I'd like to see this on the floor plans just to be safe. The Lunchland car was... She was a visitor, thus she parked in B block. So you witnessed the murder from here? That would make it about 30 feet from the car, yes? Is that correct, Miss Starr? Yes, that's right. But there was a chain link fence in front of you. I went over it, of course. Amazing! The cough of Queen Lunch Lady athlete indeed. It would have taken her a little time to climb over the fence, so she couldn't have gotten to my sister that fast. Yeah, that fence was about 9 feet high, too. So how did Miss Sky not get away? Ah yes, when I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. She mentioned the muffler? What exactly did she say? If I remembered exactly, I would have told you in my testimony. Cheeky. Anyway, all I heard her say was the word muffler. Just that one word? So, what you heard wasn't the suspect talking to you, but to someone else. Yes, the chief prosecutor was talking on her phone. Her phone? She can't mean... By phone, do you mean the cell phone discovered at the crime scene? Yes, ultimately. Ultimately. My memory... It's like a salmon heading upstream, you see. No, the court doesn't see, Miss Star. The chief prosecutor first attempted to use the phone hanging on the wall. On the wall. That's right. Near the car, there was an emergency phone on the wall. Apparently it was out of order. And so she used her cell phone. Indeed, the emergency phone was out of order that day. Good witnessing, witness. Good witnessing? Whatever happened to good testifying? You should of course add this to your testimony. The things I do to please this rookie defense attorney. I saw it all. How she tried the phone on the wall but had to use her cell instead. Do you think you could restate your testimony for the court? Aha! I was going to ask the same thing. I only say this one time, so listen close, rookies. The chief prosecutor stabbed the victim and ran behind the partition. Then she picked up the emergency phone on the wall, but it was out of order. So she pulled her own cell phone out of her pocket. And during that time, you climbed over the chain link fence. And when I boldly grabbed her arm, the chief prosecutor hung up her phone. And you saw her doing this? What is it, Mr. Wright? Miss Star, I have to conclude that you have a personal grudge against Miss Lotta Sky. The witness is a former detective. Her testimony is unmarred by personal bias. Edgeworth, what the fuck? Well, who would have thought that you would be my knight in shining armor, prosecutor? You, who, together with the chief prosecutor, kicked me out 2 years ago. Well, Miss Star, this is a fatal contradiction with your testimony. How do you explain this? I don't know what you're talking about. Mess with me, and I'll make you cough it all up. Let's look at the floor plans. You said you witnessed the crime from this point. However, if that's true, you couldn't possibly have seen Miss Sky making that phone call. I believe you see what I'm getting at. The emergency phone was on the back side of this partition. If indeed you were in B block, you couldn't have seen it. What? Order, order. What is the meaning of this? It's simple, Your Honor. She's not coughing up lunch. She's coughing up lies. That's quite a claim, Mr. Wright. Perhaps you will allow me a question. Tell us exactly what lie the witness has told the court. Here's where the counterattack begins. I can't afford to get this wrong. The witness lied about... Shoot. I need to... 4 p.m. 5:18. 5:12. Oh, with an hour and a half of 4 p.m. So 5:30. So he still lived for 15 minutes. And 5:30. We don't have an accurate time of death. then she's just lying about what she saw. She lied about what she saw. In other words, she didn't see Miss Sky using the emergency phone. It does seem hard to imagine that she could have. Very logical. What's the matter, Star? Cat got your lunchbox? Mr. Wright, I hate to bother you while you're celebrating your victory, but why would Miss Star lie like that? Why would she say that my sister had tried to use the phone but failed? It doesn't make any sense. Why lie about something so insignificant? Oh, dang, she's right. I mean, maybe she really did see her try to use the emergency phone. I see no room for doubt here. You ordered the patooey on rice, right? Mr. Wright, and I thought you had something there. Ugh, one more try. I see it in your eyes. You haven't learned your lesson, have you? Tell us exactly what the witness has told the court. So it must have been the order of events. Or where she saw it. But that doesn't make sense because she clearly took the picture on the other side of the fence. I think it's the order of events. The phone calls happened, and then the murder happened. She lied about the order of events. Miss Sky used the emergency phone before the murder. I see. I hadn't thought of that. That took the wind out of her sails. Oh, I'm wrong again. Just when you think he can't sink any lower, he amazes us. Yeah. Well, this is obnoxious. The order of events could be different because it was... Well, I only have one option left, Mr. Edgeworth. Miss Sky tried to use the emergency phone, but it was out of order. What is significant about this fact? Nothing. Therefore, it would be pointless for Miss Star to lie about it. Pointless to lie. I see. But say the witness did actually see Miss Sky using the emergency phone. It would mean Miss Star witnessed the crime from a different location. A different location. Now that's a pointless lie if I ever heard one. Before you call my lie pointless, at least let me tell it. Let me ask a question to our clever wordsmith, Mr. Wright. Just where was the witness when she saw the crime? All the testimony we've heard till now points to one direction. The place from where Miss Star witnessed this crime was here. This is the only place where she could have been. The security guard room? Indeed, the security guard room in the underground parking lot is well positioned. It's built on the second floor so you can see the entire lot. She would have been able to see the emergency phone from there. But why there? There are many other places where she could have seen the phone. Not in this case, Your Honor. The witness, not being part of the prosecutor's office, couldn't park in A block. The only place she could have seen the crime from the back of the partition is here. I remember in your testimony you said you brought a lunch to your boyfriend in the security guard room, yes? Well, Miss Star? How many years have I been getting the better of men? To think that the tables could be turned. Today, a man has gotten the better of Angel Star. Order, order, witness. What have you done? You used to be a detective and you should know better. I'm not turning back. The guilty will be punished. And I'll do what I must to make sure that justice prevails. The guilty? Is she talking about Miss Sky? Mr. Wright, doesn't this strike you as odd? Why did Miss Star lie? It doesn't make sense. Huh? She could have just said she saw the crime from the security guard station. It wouldn't change anything. Exactly. This photograph tells all. The photograph tells us it was the defendant who stabbed the victim. The truth still stands. It still stands. I disagree, Mr. Edgeworth. What? If a witness is found to be lying, they're guilty of perjury. She knows this. She wouldn't risk that without a good reason. So tell us what her reason was, Mr. Wright. Me? Who else? Mr. Wright, let's review what we know. Miss Starr witnessed the crime from the security guard station. But she lied and said she saw it from B block. It must make a vital difference, but what? What would change? Distance to the crime and the angle. I don't know if it's distance that matters so much as what she could see. Why the angle at which she saw the crime occur would change. The angle? What do you mean? Well, the security guard station is on the second floor, and, she would have sort of more of a 3D view of the crime. And this is important. Why? Oh my god. Then it's distance? We don't need to review. It changes the distance between her and the scene of the crime. It's literally all of these. My condolences, Mr. Wright, but one look at the floor plans and it's quite clear. The distance between the scene of the crime and the guard station is 30 feet. I don't see how that would change what she could see. What she saw is not in question here. What matters is the time it would take her to reach the scene of the crime. Miss Starr, you witnessed the crime from the security guard station. How long did it take you to go from there to the scene of the crime where you arrested Miss Sky? My big issue with all of this, and what's been throwing me off from from answering all of these goddamn questions, is that her camera picture is behind the fence. The picture she took. Well, witness, yes? You ordered the squid wheels, right? Quality of my lunches has gone from low to inedible. I was bringing a PB&J lunch with my fresh boysenberry jam to my boyfriend. Boysenberry for the boyfriend. But he was supposed to be in the security station. He wasn't in the station, so I waited. I witnessed the crime from the glass-walled station. And before I knew what I was doing, I found myself running towards the scene. But the door was locked. I couldn't open it. That's why I had to go through the visitors' parking in B block. That's quite a detour. It probably took me at least 5 minutes to get to the scene of the crime. 5 minutes! This changes things considerably. But it was that woman over there in the defendant's chair who stabbed him. I know it. I have the photographic evidence. I swear it. I swear it on my finest plastic spork. You have a point, and the spork is a wonderful invention. Would you like another caviar lunch? Absolutely! Uh-oh. Mr. Wright, you have to do something. Do I have any evidence to stop this? Well, that's how she took the picture, I guess. 5 minutes between the witnessing of the murder and the arrest. Think about it. You can make pasta in that amount of time, if you like it al dente. I've got lunch boxes that tie pasta into knots, Ricky. A 5-minute blank. Isn't that strange? Is strange? If you were a criminal, what would you do with 5 minutes, Your Honor? Well, I guess I'd flee the scene. Hey. Don't get the wrong idea. I didn't kill anyone. But you have the instincts of a killer. You would run. But this time was different. Miss Sky dawdled on the scene of the crime. She even had her picture taken. No true criminal would act this way. It's inconceivable. Well, then it seems we've come to the end of this testimony. The witness has a grudge against the defendant and a blank in her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, is the next witness ready to go? Unfortunately, I appear to have overestimated this witness on account of her professional history. We did it! We screwed that can shut, Mr. Wright. That was too close. I'm afraid that the cough-up queen has been dethroned. And with that, court is adjourned. Mr. Edgeworth, you ordered the squid wheels, right? I think the moment she's like, but I have my own picture of me taking a photo of the murder as it's happening, and didn't give it to anybody, and just threw it into the court record. The moment she's, that's the actual problem. The moment it was all fucked up. She just brought in her own evidence, and we allowed that to happen. That's the one she tried to foist off on me. I prefer not to take the defense team's leftovers. Anything else to say? I might be able to save you. I have decisive evidence. What was that? Is this another one of her trick lunchboxes? My apologies, but we have no further questions to ask of you, Miss Starr. Oh. Is this your jumbo lunchbox? Whoa, a triple-decker. Out of deference to the witness's determination, I'll allow one more testimony. Let's hear about this decisive evidence. Like the Lechland motto says, you won't be disappointed. What's she going to pull out of her lunchbox this time? But it's decisive evidence. I should have mentioned those 5 minutes when I wasn't looking at the crime scene. And now, to the matter of the victim's shoe. Did I not bring this up? 2 types of blood were found on this shoe. One was, of course, the victim's, and the other's blood type matched the defendant, Miss Lana Skye. The shoe proves it. It's flawless, decisive evidence. Why does she have this evidence? Well, what? There was blood found on that shoe? Try Lunchland for all your lunch and decisive evidence needs. Witness, what's the meaning of this? Why is this the first time I've heard of this evidence? Simple, as I've already said. I don't trust you with evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. That's why I took the liberty of investigating this myself. And you had blood tests performed? Didn't I mention? I have 3 boyfriends in forensics. In any case, Your Honor, I can't accept this as evidence. What? You must know that the two rules of evidence law. Rule number 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. In other words, the shoe is illegal evidence, at least for the time being. Is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. Edgeworth sure is celebrating. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. Don't forget, I used to be a detective. As I mentioned previously, this shoe has already been tested by a member of the forensic department. As you can see, it was approved by the police department as of today. Even the general public can produce official evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. Is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. Edgeworth is looking pretty sullen. You could at least study some evidence law, really. The prosecution's complaints notwithstanding, it appears that this evidence satisfies the first rule of evidence law. However, it seems you have yet another count against you, witness. Anything to ensure that the guilty are properly judged. Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness. I should have mentioned those 5 minutes when I wasn't looking at the crime scene. Why did you lie about those 5 minutes? I guess you could say I just wanted people to look at the results. The results? How many times do I have to say this? I saw the chief prosecutor stab the victim before my very own eyes. Compared to that, a 5-minute blank means nothing. Then why didn't you just tell the truth? Don't make me laugh. We're dealing with the most untrustworthy of the vile lot known as prosecutors. Falsified evidence, arranged testimonies, erasing and manipulating evidence. When you fight monsters, you need to use every trick in the book. When the suspect is admitting she did it? But a false testimony is the most despicable crime of all, Miss Starr. Let's just get this over with. And now to the matter of the victim's shoe. Did I not bring this up? And you found this shoe at the scene of the crime. I detained the chief prosecutor and notified the police department. I wanted to make myself useful while I was waiting for the police to arrive. So like an ill-trained pooch, you snuck off with a shoe. I was afraid someone would erase the chief prosecutor's crime. This shoe is my secret weapon if it should happen. See this fashionable basket I have here? It carries more than lunchboxes, gentlemen. I'm happy for you and your lunchbox bag, really. In any case, you removed valuable evidence from the scene of the crime. Now tell us what you did next. I also believe that is a crime. 2 types of blood were found on this shoe. One was, of course, the victim. So you brought it to the forensics department? If you're going to submit something as evidence in court, you need it approved. To do that, evidence must be analyzed by a forensics expert. And she got away with her little coup because she used to be a detective. The shoe does appear to have bloodstains on it. Well, the man was stabbed after all. And that blood belonged to the victim, Detective Goodman? As I said, there were 2 types of blood found on the shoe. And the other blood type matched that of the defendant, Miss Lana Skye. You can't say for sure that that blood belonged to the defendant with a blood test. You claim to know something about blood tests, Rookie? Huh? Well, speak up. Well? Blood comes in 4 types. A, B, O, and AB. However, you can't tell from a blood test whether a murder was committed in cold blood. That's just a figure of speech, Mr. Wright. Actually, we can differentiate between millions of types with all the blood tests out there, which means that we can more or less narrow any sample of blood drawn to just one person. Or so I hear. That's pretty specific. If I had a little more time, I would have gotten the DNA test results. But they say there's a very little doubt it could be anyone but Miss Lana Skies. So the suspect's blood was found on the victim's shoe. That ties her directly to the death of Detective Goodman. I was afraid he was going to say that. And this shoe proves it. It's flawless, decisive evidence. I can't let this evidence go through without a fight. This evidence shouldn't actually be going through at all. You ordered the peppered fish guts, right? Some like it hot, Mr. Wright. Some like your client. She's in enough hot water to make a whole vat of soup. Mr. Wright, do you or don't you have a problem with this shoe? A problem? This is critical. Is there a problem with the victim's shoe? Fuck. I mean, there probably is a problem with the victim's shoe. Oh, wait. Oh. I need to check. Her shoes are black. Well, there's a problem. If I'm not imagining things, I'd say there is one critical problem with this evidence. A clear contradiction. That gleam in your eyes. You're still young, Rookie. I'd give you a peppered fish gut now. But you couldn't take the heat, could you? Let's hear what Mr. Wright has to say. What is contradictory about the victim's shoes? Show us the problem with the evidence. Why can't I just tell you that the shoe is white instead of black? Are you fucking kidding me? The problem with this evidence is here. Where? Are you kidding me? Oh my god. Oh my god. This is absurdly frustrating. I don't even know where this whole line of questioning was happening. Because I'm so frustrated with this whole case. Some of the things that are being asked are absolute bananas. Oh, is it the victim shoe? I got it all super mixed up. Oh, it is the victim's shoe. Okay. Okay, well there is a problem. I don't know why I thought it was her shoe, even though we've said victim like a billion times. Well, then it has to be... right here, then. I wonder if you noticed. But there's blood on the bottom of this shoe. Don't mess with me, Ricky, or it'll be your blood on the bottom of my shoe. Indeed, there is quite a bit of blood on the bottom of this shoe. It makes sense. The victim was stabbed with a knife. What could possibly be contradictory about blood on the bottom of the shoe? I don't know anymore. But I can't be wrong anymore. Can I save so I don't have to do this whole case over again? Good lord. The only thing I can think of is that there's no blood. This is where the scene of the crime took place, right? There's no blood on the ground. So there's no way for him to get blood on his shoe. It's the only thing I can do. The problem lies in the footprint. The footprint. Note that the bottom of the victim's shoe is covered in blood. Then, isn't it strange? Why aren't there any bloody footprints found at the scene of the crime? Aha! As you can see, there were no traces of such footprints at the scene of the crime. That contradicts your claim about this shoe. This picture only shows part of the floor, so there could have been bloody footprints. Then where are they, Mr. Edgeworth? Because we checked the scene and found nothing of the sort. Order, order, order. Well, witness. What? Great going, Mr. Wright, but it's true that the lack of a footprint is a contradiction, but then we have to ask why there wasn't a footprint. Oh, that's true. There has to be a reason why there isn't a footprint. Think, Mr. Wright, think. Hey, I don't know why it's not there. I'm just good at finding contradictions. What? I see. Now I get it. Get what? Our witness is more devious than I gave her credit for. We were hoodwinked to the very end. But she slipped. There is one vital hint to the truth in her testimony. What are you talking about? Think back to when she told us about apprehending the suspect. The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hand aside, kicked over an oil drum. Oh, she's beautiful but deadly. A predator to this one. A leopard woman. Rawr! I thought that was a strange thing for the normally cool-headed chief to do. No kidding. Now, witness, allow me to ask a very simple question. This oil drum, was it empty? Oh, that? I'm not sure. I like your attitude, Mr. Edgeworth. Though apparently you're not the slowest conveyor belt in the lunchbox factory. Witness, well, was the oil drum empty? The oil drum kicked over by the chief prosecutor was brimming with water. Water? What does that mean? Still don't get it, Mr. Wright? Do you want to know the reason she knocked it over? The real reason? Aha! You don't mean... Yes, the suspect knocked over that oil drum for one reason and one reason alone. To erase the bloodstains that would become evidence against her. That seems like bullshit. That ties things up quite nicely. The bloodstains left on the victim's shoes ties her clearly to this murder. Then after the deed was done, she knocked over the oil drum to erase the telltale signs. Why, that's a prosecutor's specialty, erasing evidence. No, it's not her shoe. It's the victim's shoe. That's where everything got all fucked up. Because we kept thinking it was her shoe for whatever reason. But it's not her shoe. It was the victim's shoe and he was in the trunk. No, he was in the trunk though. At this point, he's in the trunk. That reminds me, Miss Sky's right hand was hurt. Didn't she say she'd cut herself when she stabbed him? So... that's when my sister's blood got on the shoe. Well, I see no reason to prolong this trial. But Mr. Wright, do something, please! What? What can I do? Your sister has confessed to the crime, and she tried to conceal it. But... enough. There is no need for further debate. The verdict, Your Honor. Very well. But Angel Star is on the prosecution side. She could have been lying about the water. This court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Sky. Little girl, what did you just say? Huh? Me? Did you say that Angel Star, was on the prosecution side? Well, yeah, you are. You're saying my sister hid evidence by erasing the bloody footprints. Well, I thought you had your fill, but here you are, demanding a second helping. I am so tired of this woman. I want her to leave and never come back. Another lunchbox. A lunchbox called Evidence. Wait, witness, don't tell me you have something else. The time for deliberations is past. Any further comments and you will be held in contempt of court. Your threats don't scare the cough of Queen. Look at this. A photograph. I had it just in case anyone had the gall to suggest that the white shoe didn't belong to the victim. I see no room for error in this evidence. Mr. Wright, look at the asphalt in this photo. Hey, it's clearly wet. erasing the last trace of doubt from the court's mind. Immediately after the murder, the crime scene was washed with water. I'm sorry, Mr. Wright. I guess I couldn't help after all. It's not your fault. I knew I couldn't win this case from the beginning. And it seems this is what your sister wanted anyway. I'm sorry, Mia. Right, what or not? Don't be so quick to throw in the towel. Get yourself up off the asphalt and take another good look. Don't give up, not until the bitter end. This is the last piece of evidence. Very well, this time I'd like to declare a verdict for good. Your Honor, wait! What is with you people? Can't I hand down my verdicts in peace anymore? Whatever it is, can it wait? No, it can't. Then it will be too late. Look at this photograph, the last one submitted. This trial isn't over until we give each piece of evidence proper consideration. So, Wright, are you saying there's a problem with this latest piece of evidence? Yeah, I'll think later. Yeah, there's a problem. Right or wrong, I've got to go ahead with this. I don't know what the problem is. I'm over this case. I suppose since we've come this far, we should give every claim a fair shake. Very well, Mr. Wright. Show the court the problem with this evidence. Is it this? Something clearly in the tailpipe? It's the only thing I can think of. The man is very stabbed. His shoe is very off. Is this the muffler, right? Hand is stabbed, shoe is off. Whatever. The problem in this photograph is here. What's this? There's something poking out from the car's muffler. Wait just a moment, Mr. Edgeworth. Your Honor, you just said muffler. However, I see no trace of a muffler or scarf of any kind in this photograph. A muffler is also a part of a car or a motorcycle, Your Honor. Just think of it as part of the exhaust system, a pipe. I see, and I see. So here's my big brain theory. I do not believe this man was killed in this parking lot. I actually think he was killed where... I don't know. I don't know where he was killed, but I do believe he was put in Edgeworth's trunk by somebody else that we haven't met yet, and Edgeworth drove him to the parking lot. Because the time... Edgeworth has a tag of when he parked, and the murder apparently took place 3 minutes before that, or she got caught like 3 minutes after he parked. So the timing of everything is like absurdly tight, and especially now with Angel Star's testimony, it makes even less sense. So I believe that this body was killed somewhere else. And Edgeworth brought the body that he did not know was in his trunk to the prosecutor's office. That is the only thing that makes any sense. I do think it's a prosecutor conspiracy plot, and I do not think Edgeworth's part of it, but I do believe Lana's guilty of something, but I don't, and it was clearly part of this murder cover-up, but I don't think she did the killing. What's that suspicious looking cloth sticking out of the car's muffler? So what if there is something sticking out of the muffler? What does that have to do with this case? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Sorry, Miss Starr, but it's not going to be that easy. In fact, you've already told us why this is important to the case. You said as much in your testimony. What? Let's hear what Mr. Wright has on his mind. Tell us why you think this piece of cloth in the muffler is related to the case. Oh. Oh. She wasn't talking about her scarf. She was talking about the car muffler. There's some evidence in the car muffler. Miss Starr, really, your testimony for the court. Recall your testimony for the court. Ah, yes, when I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's what had me confused in my earlier testimony. Muffler. Ah. Could it be that the muffler you heard mentioned was actually this exhaust pipe? If so, that means this piece of cloth is vital evidence. Oh. Well, it seems we will have to suspend the proceedings. Suspend? I find myself wondering about the piece of cloth. If we leave any question unanswered here, we do a disservice to the law. Unlike the... This would be the disservice to the law, not anything else that's happened. Have the car at the crime scene inspected at once and bring me that cloth. The verdict will wait until after we've seen all the evidence. Agreed? I suppose so. Whew. That was close. But we made it, at least for now. This court will adjourn for a 30-minute recess. It's lunchtime, after all. He's still hungry. This trial is still going to be fucking going on. I'm exhausted. And I still have to I was like ready to turn this game off and have some lunch because I'm so irritated with it. Well, we still got more stream to go. Mr. Wright. What? Are trials always like this with you? Like, you're swimming up from the bottom of a lake, about to reach the surface, but no matter how hard you paddle, you never seem to get there. Pretty much. Except today we're swimming in quicksand. So what happened to your sister anyway? Apparently she got called off to the judge's chambers. Probably something to do with the piece of cloth. So this is where we turn this trial around, right? Our only weapon, a tiny, insignificant piece of cloth. I'm the one who's starting to feel tiny and insignificant, to tell the truth. Hola, partner. Here he is. Man of the hour. Thank you. I will take a sippy while we listen to this. That's true. They say you show a red cloth to a bull. It'll fire up its temper. That's what they told me when I was a youngin', at least. Officer Marshall! Thought I'd come to take a look, see how the trial's going. Looks like I'm late. They got the home ranch locked down tighter than a fort in enemy territory. That hard to slip out, huh? What is going on over there, anyway? All that police I've seen the last 2 days have been really on edge. Don't y'all got enough on your plate without worrying about other people, compadre? You could be worrying about the chief prosecutor's taste in mufflers, for example. Officer Marshall? The whole muffler thing didn't have anything to do with scarves. She wasn't even wearing a scarf. You don't say. Now don't that just beat it all. I've seen the red breeze blow at her slender neck many a time. I saw it that day too. She was wearing a red muffler. What? At at the awards ceremony that afternoon. Edgeworth's seen it too, I'd reckon. What does that mean? In the photograph taken at the crime scene, she wasn't wearing a scarf. So, Miss Starr wasn't mistaken. Well, it's about time. Remember, partner, sometimes you gotta grab the bull by the horns. And sometimes you just gotta let that bull go where it will. Time will tell. Ugh. I have a bad feeling about this. So what are we swimming in now, Mr. Wright? If it steaks off, I can hook you up with some fine ribs. I'm not gonna say oily. Do I get all my little defense attorney points back? I'd like to resume. What's up? The judge keeps looking over at the prosecution. Oh, someone got in troubles. I will not be doing a yeehaw. Is something wrong, Mr. Edgeworth? Your face is blue. Your lips are purple. You're sweating bullets. That furrowed brow, those grinding teeth, those watery eyes. What's more, your eyes are unfocused. You're doubled over. Your back is bent. Get a yeehaw. It can't be. This can't happen. I wonder what happened to Mr. Edgeworth. Well then, I believe it is time we continued on with this trial. During our recess, I had requested that the prosecution conduct an investigation. This is unacceptable! It seems our prosecutor is quite beside himself. Excuse me? Knock knock? Who's there? Oh my god! His music is so good. What's with this guy? A strange, stuffy aura seems to be filling the courtroom. Look at him! Oh my god, I love him so much! Everything's gonna be okay! This game is back on! Let's keep playing! I am in love with this man! Hey! The temperature rose to 5.7 degrees when that man came in! Who on earth is he? Tell me! Tell me who this man is! Ah, it's you! That's a good question, Sprightly. Oh, I don't know what voice to give him. Sorry, I'm late, Uji. The roads were packed. It's just me. Long time no see, Uji. How you been? Swim much these days? This man's a dad. This man's a straight up dad. Hello? No, I've been so busy. Busy smizzy, Uji, my boy. You have to make time to relax. Yes, indeed. Uji. Seems to be his nickname for the judge. I'm afraid you're right. Very afraid. Sorry, but who are you? You're Righto, the attorney. I've heard good things about you, son. Thanks. So sorry about our little worthy giving you all that trouble, eh? You know, we should all go swimming together sometime. Jolly. Little worthy? Mr. Wright, you don't know the district chief of police? Chief of police? He's the top-ranking police officer in the entire district. Oh, arrest me, sir. Name's Gant. Damon Gant. Pleased to meet you, everyone. Damon. Kind of sounds like demon. I'm sure this will be fine. So, to what do we owe the honor today? It's been over 2 years since you last came to this courtroom, hasn't it? Well, it's worthy here. Look at the poor fellow. I just thought I'd help out by bringing this. Hey, that's my sister's muffler. So Miss Star wasn't just seeing things. When the crime occurred, Miss Sky really was wearing that muffler. But to think it was stuffed into that exhaust pipe. Yeah. Yeah. Look at this animation. I'm so delighted by him. He's got pink glasses. He's got some weird thing going on over here. I love this man. I love this man so much. I don't care what he did. And he probably did do something. On Little Worthy's car, no less. Oh, he's so thick. I just love him so much. It's really quite embarrassing, even for us. Oh, I think I missed something. It's what you call a switchblade knife. Quite perplexing, this. Yes. Chief, what kind of outfit are you running? Mr. Edgeworth, how could they miss such a vital piece of evidence? If your investigators are this lax, how do you expect us to do our job? Oh, now wait a minute, Worthy. I have no desire to hear your excuses. I'm telling you to wait. Or didn't you hear me? Have a look at this document, where it says person in charge of investigation. I'm having trouble getting this thing to move. There's no mistaking that signature is there. Miles Edgeworth. That's not fair. On the day of the crime, you had your head in the clouds because you got that award. I know how you feel. But you're the person in charge. I expect a written apology. Oh, what? Are you serious? Don't be too upset. We'll find a way to clean up this mess that you made. This is the first time I've seen Mr. Edgeworth at a loss for words. This kind of major blunder is unlike you, Mr. Edgeworth. Ugh. The court accepts this new evidence. But I'd like to ask the defense a favor first. Yes. Just to be sure. I'd like to take a look at the blade of this knife. The blade, Your Honor. Well, I don't see why not. Could you open it up for me, I wonder? Yes, well, I think all you have to do is push that switch and... If I cut my finger, Mr. Wright, I wouldn't be able to pound my gavel anymore. Yeah, but if I cut my finger, I wouldn't be able to point at people anymore. Come on, just hurry up and open it. Thank you, video game. Oh, don't scare me like that. I'm the one who's scared. Look at this knife blade. The tip is broken off. And this dark red stain. Blood? This does not excuse the actions of the police department. I would like to hear an explanation from the chief of police himself. I'm terribly sorry, but could I ask you to testify for us about the split between the prosecutors and the police and this knife? Sure thing, not a problem, not even a little one, really. This knife is special, but I can't say how here. Unless there's evidence to prove a connection between this knife and Goodman. That was a bad day for the department. We weren't in any shape to do an investigation. A detective was killed at the police department. See, what a mess. The time of the crime, 5:15. Scary coincidence, eh? It's not officially linked to this here case, so I can't talk much about it. There was a murder at the police department? A detective? That's hush-hush information, Uji. We haven't exactly announced it yet. Oh, wait a second. You said 5:15? That's the exact time the Detective Goodman was killed at the prosecutor's office. Order, order, order. Anyway, we here at the police department were all flustered, as you might well assume. We're in the middle of a top secret investigation. Don't tell anyone, okay? I think we understand the police department's situation. Well, Mr. Wright, 2 detectives killed at the same time in 2 different places. The chances of that are really slim, scientifically speaking, of course. I'd like to exercise my right to cross-examine the witness. Very well. However, keep your questions focused on the case at hand. I think it was the same murder. I think the same man died, but in 2 places. This knife is special, but I can't say how here. Hold on. SL92. It's upside down. SL9. This will be important later. Excuse me. Special? Oh, what? Hard to come by this particular knife anywhere else. Might that special thing be this little tag? Oh, sorry, Righto, but I can't say that now. Not that. We've established that the knife in Goodman's chest was this knife. Now, why was there another knife at the scene of the crime? That's quite a mystery. And like a mystery, it's wrapped in something. A muffler. Unless there's evidence to prove a connection between the knife and Goodman. There is. This knife was found on the scene of our crime. I think that makes it connected to the case, don't you? To see, there's a lot of things that go on in the department that I can't explain. It's delicate, okay? Sorry, Righto. Maybe there's something about the knife that will give us a clue. Let's examine the knife while we can, Righto. Evidence that links the knife to Detective Goodman. I think perhaps the pieces are falling into place. I should try presenting the piece of evidence that has to be stumped all this time. So how were things down at the department? That was a bad day for the department. We weren't in any shape to do an investigation. Something happened at the police department too, huh? You've got a good look in your eyes there, Righto, my boy. Sharp, hungry. So, something did happen. And why wasn't I informed? Why weren't you informed? Well, why didn't you ask? No matter, I understand. You were busy with that llama's case, after all. Well, what happened? What happened at the police department that day? A detective was killed at the police department. See? What a mess! On the same day that a detective was killed at the prosecutor's parking lot, another detective was killed at the police department? That's a fact! Surprising, isn't it, Uji? I'm at a loss for words. And the perpetrator? Do you have a suspect? Well, there was a suspect. Just arrested them, in fact. Just arrested? That was quick. But there's still a lot of unanswered questions. Maybe you could help, Righto. I suppose I could help if you help me by giving data on your case. Oh, good one! This kid's sharp. Okay, here's the deal. I'll tell you one thing and one thing only. I can't help it. He's very dreamy. So, we know where the victim died. And that was at the same time as our victim died. And we know where it was, which was in the police department. So the only thing I think is helpful is how the victim was killed. Unless we do already know that. Well, how was the detective killed? How was he killed? Now that's the interesting part. It was what we in the force call a stabbing with a knife. A knife? That's exactly the same as Detective Goodman. That's the spirit we're cooking now. But you know, that's not the only thing that was exactly the same. What do you mean? There were more similarities between the two cases than the cause of death. It seems like I'm going to have to press this a bit harder. The time of the crime, 5:15. Scary coincidence, eh? 5:15. But that's when Detective Goodman was killed in the prosecutor's office. What? Funny, isn't it? A murder at the prosecutor's place and a murder at our place at the very same time. What are the chances? Coincidence. This is just my gut feeling, but I'd say there's a 0.001% chance of that happening. Chief Gant, please tell us more about the incident. It's not officially linked in this your case, so I can't talk much about it. How can you say there's no connection? How? Because I'm the chief of police. I can't just say anything I please, Righto. You understand. Try to understand, Righto. Well, if you can prove there is a connection, more power to you. Maybe there is something that ties the two murders together. Whatever it is, I'd better find it and get to the bottom of this. 2 detectives were killed at 5:15. One at the prosecutor's office and one at the police department. That can't be a coincidence. And that knife! What was it doing there? I'd better check this knife out. Okay, so here's my theory. Detective Goodman was killed by somebody else at the police department. Because there's such a huge gap between the time of the murder, or the time of death. It's between 4 and 5:30, I think it is. So he was killed probably at around 4 by somebody with that broken knife. And then he was put into Edgeworth's car, because Edgeworth was at the police department to get his award. And then Edgeworth unknowingly drove the body into the prosecutor's office, where Lana Skye put the Edgeworth's knife into the Detective Goodman, so it looks like he was killed there. So she's in on it. He's in on it. There's a huge conspiracy going on. But I don't know why. But she didn't kill Goodman, because he didn't die there. So, yeah, there's a huge police conspiracy going on. But there's only one murder. And it's the same man. Do I have to... I hate doing this. It's very inconvenient. There we go. There's the small tag on the knife. It says SL92. What's that supposed to mean? Not sure, but it reminds me of a similar code. DL6? Maybe it's a case number. That's weird. What? I don't remember where. But I think I've seen something like this before. Something similar to what's written on this tag. It wasn't that long ago either. Maybe I should check the court record again. Okay, so now I present this. Wait a second! Aha, at last! An honest-to-goodness objection. This knife. This has to have something to do with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? Ah, and honest to goodness, what do you mean from Uji? This is great! Look at that tag on this knife. It reads SL92. And this is important. Why? Over here, we also have a memo that was on the body of the victim. What's this? 6 minus 7s 12 divided by 2. Your Honor, it's upside down. Upside... The printed name on the memo makes it look like it's right side up. But turn it around and what do you get? Aha! Whoever wrote this note was holding the paper upside down. SL9. That's the same thing written on this knife's tag. Order, order. Well, Chief? Well, I guess the cat's out of the bag. You win, Righto. I win? What game is this guy playing? This knife was evidence in a case. It was stolen from the department's evidence room. So this knife was stolen? Yes, but on the day of the murder. It was evidence you say. Was it in fact a murder weapon? Nice, nice, nice. Good show, little Worthy. It was a murder weapon, as it happens. It was evidence from a case long since solved. So this knife was stolen on the day of the murder. And it was found in the exhaust pipe of Edgeworth's car. Hard to think there isn't a connection there. That was a bad day for the department. Oh, fucking hell. Now they are officially linked though, right? No, we've already checked the knife out. But now we know that things are linked. How can you say that there's no connection? How? Because I'm the chief of police. I can't just say anything I can't just say anything I please, Righto, you understand? Well, if you can prove there's a connection, more power to you. Maybe there is something that ties the two murders together. Oh, do you think there's... I didn't think about that. On the same day, another detective was killed at the police department. Do you have a suspect? Well, we just arrested them. There's still a lot of other questions. Okay, here's the deal. I'll tell you one thing and one thing only. So tell me, where was the victim found? Well, I can't speak on where the corpse was found, but I can say that the crime took place in the evidence room at the police department. The evidence room? Wait a second. I have heard of that. The evidence room? Didn't he mention that in his testimony just now? The knife was evidence in a case. It was stolen from the department's evidence room. There's that connection between the two cases. You seem happy, Mr. Wright. Happy? Happy we just got handed our ticket to go to town on this case. With the link between the two cases established, we finally have some leverage. Now we can get Gant to testify about the details. Chief, the defense's position is simply this. The connection between these two cases has already been proven. You don't say. Well, out with it, Wright-O. What's your connection? Yes, out with it, Mr. Wright. The connection is a place mentioned in the testimony we just heard. The knife found in the lot was stolen from the police department's evidence room. Not to mention the victim had on him the case number of the knife's evidence tag. And we also know that the detective murdered at the police department was killed in that very same evidence room. Indeed. There do seem to be too many connections for it to be a coincidence. You two make a good pair. It took my men 2 days to find out what you deduced right here. Chief, I request that you release the information on the victim at the police department. See, that's the tricky part. It hasn't been announced yet and all. Can we get the information? Unofficially. Sure, why not? It's unofficial after all. What? Really? Who would have guessed? I'll cooperate, but I can't reveal the name of the victim at the department. Okay? If you're going to tell us a little, why not tell us everything? Well, case information is sticky stuff. You have to do everything properly. Oh, well, I guess I might as well try to get what I can out of him. We know he's a detective. Okay, how about you tell me the victim's ID number? Sure, why not? It's not like you'll be able to tell who it is from that. Of course not. You won't tell me their name after all. We keep a tight lid on ID numbers, so don't go getting your hopes up. The number is 5842189. Well, that's quite long. And we have to remember these. It drives me nuts. 82... Oh, I can't do it. You didn't even get the first number right. Well, Mr. Wright, does this tell you anything? Yes? Hey, look. That's right there. The ID number of the victim at the police department, 5842189. This tells me something. Actually, it does, Your Honor. It does. I think. Meaning? It has to be what I think it is. But what does this mean? Well, let's hear what the defense has to say. You say the ID number of the detective who was murdered at the police department tells you something? What does it tell you? Can I just present this? Yeah. Witness! What is it, Mr. Wright? You're grinning like a schoolgirl on prom night. No, it's just, I got confused. And this is news? Huh? Just come out with both guns blazing, like you always do. The police department, the prosecutor's office. 2 places, 2 detectives murdered at one time. Actually, I happen to have a police ID number here. That's what I suspected from the beginning. There's a big-ass conspiracy theory happening here. And the chief of police and the chief prosecutor are both involved in it. And they're covering for somebody, or they're covering for each other. Actually, I happen to have a police ID number here. Oh, is it yours? No, Your Honor. I'm a defense attorney, remember? This is the ID number of our victim, Detective Goodman. Shame on you, righto! Personal IDs are top secret. Detective Goodman's ID number is 5842189. And this means what exactly? Huh? Wait, that ID number we heard from the chief earlier. That started with 82. I've forgotten. You didn't even get the first number right again. The number the chief of police gave us was 5842189. Wait a second, right? What does this mean? That's what I want to know. The two ID numbers are identical. In other words, the detective killed in the police department's evidence room was Bruce Goodman. What does our witness think about that? Oh, sharp as a tack, righto, sharp as a tack. But wait, Detective Goodman is our victim. He was killed at 5:15 in the underground parking lot. Yet a detective, Bruce Goodman, was also killed at the police department, in the evidence room, at the exact same time. That's impossible. So what we're saying is the same person was killed at the same time and in a completely different location. Order, order. Chief, what does this mean? No. What I want to know is why didn't I hear about this? Yes, it's top secret, fine, but I'm the prosecutor in charge of the case. Now, just wait a second, Worthy. No need to get all flustered. Your Honor, the police department has made a grave error in this case. Wait. I said wait. Oh, yes. Or didn't you hear me? The oversight, the grave error, Mr. Edgeworth, they're yours. What? How dare? We informed you yesterday. I believe it was our Officer Meekins who brought you the news. Officer Meekins. Mr. Wright, where have we heard that name before? Wait. Excuse me, but this is Mr. Edgeworth anywhere on the premises? I'm here, sir, at the request of the chief, sir. I've got your reports, sir. Oh, Edgy, you really done fucked it up. You don't mean him? According to Meekins, you didn't accept the report. Hard to believe. But your officer, he told me. He said that report had nothing to do with the Lana Sky incident. Detective Bruce Goodman murdered in the police department evidence room. Mr. Edgeworth, the victim's name is written right on the top of the report. Ugh. Why didn't your officer tell me? Honestly, I'm not sure if that officer was capable of making the connection. He did seem challenged. In any case, this is a serious error. A gross negligence of your duty on your part, Worthy. But, sir, you could have submitted that report this morning to the court as evidence. Then I... No such luck this time, Worthy. Or should I say unworthy? Yeah. What? Now, what was the second rule of evidence law? Well, Mr. Wright? Oh, well, it's, Rule 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And how is this rule relevant? Normally, you submit a list of evidence to be used in court before the trial. This report wasn't on that list. So, what does this mean? I couldn't submit this evidence until a connection was proven in court. The connection was just proven by Righto over here. Good job, Righto, my boy. I was just doing my job. No. No! It seems we have come to the end of this trial. I know you're going through a tough time, Worthy, with all those rumors. You were even at the defendant's chair just this past December. I apologize for this terrible lack of diligence on my part. Mr. Edgeworth, please, just give me one day. I'll get to the bottom of what happened. If it's the last thing I do. You'd better get results this time, really. You have my profound apologies, sir. Poor Mr. Edgeworth. I don't think there's ever been an error this serious in the history of this court. I will grant one further day as the prosecution has requested. Will that be sufficient, Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Whatever your punishment for this is, for your sake I hope it is not decisive. Very well. Court is adjourned. Thank you. I can tell you really are enjoying yourself over there, Yak. There's never been an error that bad. Not even once. Why are you envious? Mr. Wright, so what's going on with the case anyway? I'm a little confused. Oh, dude, I have, like, fucked up horrendously. The whole lunch lady situation was so frustrating. There's a lot of, like, some of the things that they ask you, like, there was a question was like, well, if she was there, what's the difference? And it's like, well, all of those things make a difference. I don't know, some of the... I don't feel like this case is as well put together as some of the other ones, but I don't dislike it. Hell yeah. Let's see, what is going on? The victim, Detective Bruce Goodman, was stabbed to death after 5 p.m. on the 21st. Yeah, it definitely doesn't feel like it has the polish. There's some, like, weird questions that don't need to be asked, and, like... Yeah, it's extremely convoluted. Yeah, that's another thing. Was stabbed to death after 5 p.m. on the 21st. He died on the prosecutor's parking lot. And the police department's evidence room. What's this? And the evidence room part? The prosecutor's office and the police department are 30 minutes apart by car. Well, that's what we're going to find out. Or try to, at least. Alright, let's do it. Glad she's in good spirits, but I'm not sure she's going to be much help with this. Don't be so sure, Mr. Wright. Look, we're in this together, right? I'll prove that these thick-rimmed glasses of mine aren't just for show. Let's go! Science awaits us! Yeah, there's the whole thing where I'm supposed to turn evidence is impossibly difficult on PC, where I'm like, because I can't move things left to right, I have to, like, maneuver it just right so the little tiny magnifying glass is able to see it. I'm sure that was much easier on a Nintendo DS. I also imagine with the double screens, it's easier to see your evidence at all times. Because I bet you had your evidence on one screen and, like, the game on the top screen. Yeah. So it's easier to be like... I don't know how I got so mixed up, but there was like a shoe that was brought in, and I, for whatever reason, thought it was Lana's shoe, and I was like, oh, the problem is the coloring. But I had to keep going back into my evidence if I wanted to look at it. And so, like, you make a lot of wrong exceptions because the evidence isn't constantly laid out for you. You know, I really don't think we should worry about the police department murder. There wasn't even a body found there. Who cares? Yeah, it was only our victim who was killed in their evidence room. No biggie. Besides, my sister would never do such a thing. I know it. That oil drum. Was it empty? The oil drum kicked over by the chief of prosecutors was brimming with water. I have been tempted to do the same. My sister erasing evidence at the crime scene. Never! Even though she says they don't get along, Emma really likes her sister. That's not it at all! It's just... we're both professionals at what we do, and I trust her. Big words for a high school student. Well, whether there was blood on the floor or not, the water in that oil drum washed it all away. Ignore the strength of my science at your own peril, Mr. Wright. Huh? What's that grin for? This situation calls for one thing, and that is luminal testing fluid. Luminal? Blood is sticky stuff, you know. You can't just wash it away with a little water. Even if I can't see it, it's still there. But wouldn't the police have already done those tests? Never trust anyone's eyes but your own, Mr. Wright. Just give it a try. Me? Why do I have to do it? I'm a minor. I can't even drink yet. We're testing bloodstains with this stuff, not drinking it. Here, look, I'll lend you these glasses. Huh? You had an extra pair of those things? Oh. To test for a blood reaction, just spray the luminol on it. Like this, see? Press enter to spray it on. Okay, let's find us some bloodstains. Oh, I can just do it like this. I don't have to hit it. Shit. I want to keep spraying. Ugh. I can see her eyes shining behind those glasses. So this is a bloodstain. It's so... Ugh. Emma, you're shaking. It's just this is my first time seeing real blood. Scientific investigation in action. Okay, well, we definitely know that this is a bloodstain. But doesn't something strike you as odd? Scientifically speaking, of course. What's odd about this scientifically? The perpetrator and Detective Goodman fought here, right? Don't you think there'd be a little more blood? I definitely think so. I mean, look at all the blood on the sole of the victim's shoe. It is pretty strange. If they fought here, they'd have to have been more blood than this. Uh-huh. Hey, Mr. Wright! I'm gonna mark up the floor plans when we find a bloodstain, okay? See? I'm pretty handy to have around, right? Yeah, and this stuff's pretty handy too. I saved up my allowance to buy that. We can't be sure that the police will reveal all their evidence in court. Sometimes they fail to mention evidence that doesn't fit with their view of the case. Then let's drag that hidden evidence out into the light of day. Yeah. It feels like we're really investigating a crime now, doesn't it? I guess I should give this spray, give this a spray on anything suspicious. Ha! Ugh, you. I wonder how that fluid of yours would react to a nice deli box. Miss Starr! I do not want to talk to this woman anymore. You only trust your own eyes, Not bad, you two. The day-old deli box is on the house. Sorry, it's just that kind of lead-in doesn't really get my mouth watering. You certainly put me in a tight spot today. My apologies, Miss Starr, but you're a lying sack of shit. No, it's okay. It was my fault. Oh, we know. I witnessed everything from that security room right there. But I was afraid that I wouldn't sound convincing enough, you see? I was wrong to think that. I'm sorry. Sorry? You lied on the witness stand several times. That's unforgivable. Little girl, don't forget what's important here. Even if the place I witnessed the events from was different, I still saw what I saw. I saw Chief Prosecutor Sky stab a man in cold blood, and that testimony still stands. I swear it on my honor as a detective. She stabbed Goodman. I know this photograph has something important to tell us, but what? So you were a detective, weren't you, Miss Starr? Yes, it was a long time ago. Well, 2 years ago. No matter how hardened the criminal, when they faced me, they coughed it up. Coughed it up. They confessed. They babbled like babies. You know. I may seem like a demon sometimes, but I can be an angel too. I wouldn't doubt it. Every day I dragged dirt out of their mouths for suspect after suspect, and before long they called me... Don't make me say it again. The cough-up queen! Oh, and here I thought someone had gotten food poisoning from your lunches. And you were let go. Fired? I felt that I had found my dream job when I became an investigator, and if these prim and proper prosecutors hadn't let me go, I'd still be one today. It's all because of that case. The SL9 incident. SL9? Wait, she doesn't mean... What do you think about this? The SL9 incident. It's written on that knife. And on that note. Goodman. Goodman was the head detective on that case, you know. Really? That knife was evidence from that case, the murder weapon. It was due for transferal the very day that Goodman was killed. As I suspected. SL9 isn't over. Not yet. Do you think you could tell us more about the SL9 incident? No? And then she doesn't have more information for me. Oh, she's obnoxious. I don't have anything else for her. I had one of those up until 2 years ago. Back when you were the cough-up queen, right? We found this ID card here in this parking lot. Well, there's no mistaking that. It's definitely Goodman's. But... it's the same ID as the man who was killed at the police department. That's impossible. I wish I could be so sure. Ugh. This is the famous oil drum. Well, no time like the present. I'll try and kick it over myself. Hi-ya! That's okay. Don't cry. That Lana Sky must be one strong woman. Here, a phone. Let's see if it works. Hey, don't touch stuff we don't need to be touching. I can't hear anything. My ears! No, my ears! Maybe it's due to the barometric pressure. What is she babbling about? Hey, what did you just say? See, you can hear just fine. The phone is broken. So that's where Miss Starr saw the incident from. You can probably see quite a lot from up there. That probably means she wasn't lying when she said she saw Miss Sky stab him. Where's the security guard anyway? Well, this is just something I heard. But apparently he went out to buy coffee for Miss Starr. That woman is a force to be reckoned with. That's probably as red as the sports car can get. Yep, it's pretty red, alright. The body was found in Edgeworth's car trunk, and the lock on the trunk was broken too. So the question is, why did Mr. Guy choose his car? So what model car is it? I think it was called a sedan or a coupe or something like that. Those are car types, Mr. Wright, not models. You're a guy, aren't you, Mr. Wright? You're supposed to know these things. Maybe it's about time I got my driver's license. This rope, is it? Yep, they laid it out in the outline of the victim's body. So wait, the victim must have died when the killer closed the trunk on him. No, we already did all that. B block is through there. That's where the visitors park. So Miss Starr climbed over this fence? It seems so, yeah. That fence is 9 feet high at least. Well, no time like the present. I think I'll give it a little try. It's okay, don't cry. Maybe there's a Lunchland Olympics team. What was bothering us? Or bugging us? If you think about it, I could have taken that picture from the guard room. But even I get flustered sometimes. So you went straight to the scene of the crime. I rushed towards the chain link fence in an effort to stop the murder. That's when I took this photo, yes. Oh, she's already... That was the whole issue with her testimony. Hold on. She already talked about this. So she was here, and she said she tried to get over here, but it was locked. So she had to run all the way... to here, and then she took the picture, and then she climbed the fence to arrest Talana. And that was kind of the problem, because she saw the stab happen. By the time she got all the way over here, and she said it took 5 minutes, she was able to take the picture of Lana putting the body in the trunk or whatever, and that was why everyone was confused why Lana just didn't leave immediately. You know, it's safe to believe that information at this point. That's when I took this photo, yes. In other words, 5 minutes after the crime. And those 5 minutes are the whole problem. The hole in my testimony, as it were. Those 5 minutes weren't the problem, Miss Starr. You lying was the problem. Listen, little girl. I've had my testimony disregarded before, and I wasn't going to have it disregarded again. Just like that time. That time. Can we talk about this shit now? The incident really opened up my eyes to the truth. We're nothing to them. Disposable. Disposable? To who? 2 years ago, it was the biggest case I'd ever handled. The police and the prosecutors were desperate for decisive evidence. So they didn't solve it? Oh, on the contrary, it was solved quite cleanly. The criminal was caught and executed. Executed? Yes, the criminal got what was coming to him. It doesn't get any cleaner than that. The only problem was, they never did find decisive evidence. Not a shred. What? But the criminal was executed, right? On the basis of evidence of a sort. Made up evidence. What? You mean they executed someone with fabricated evidence? The best part came several months after the trial. Every detective involved with the case was dealt with. Some were demoted to patrolmen, others found themselves out of a job. And you were one of those. Myself and one other person you know well. Wait, could it be? Exactly. Detective Jake Marshall. Oops, I mean, Police Department Security Detail Officer Jake Marshall. As professional detectives, we investigated the case from every angle. Jake was particularly determined. And then it was over, and he was demoted. However, he hasn't forgotten, and neither have I. You haven't forgotten SL9. There was another side to the case, a hidden side. That's what we're after now. Hello, good afternoon! I am attorneying very, very hard, and investigating very, very hard. And no one up in their fancy office can stop us. Wait! Those lunches you sell. There's only one reason I come to sell lunches to this accursed office. I come here to meet old friends. Boyfriends that can help me investigate. Miss Star's old boyfriends. How many does she have, anyway? Just when all the detectives of SL9 have disappeared, we find new evidence. There has to be a connection. So, Rookie? What? It seems like you're serious about investigating this case. Yes. Then you should take this. A Salisbury steak lunch. I know a certain guy who might help you if you tempt him with this treat. Miss Starr. Officer Marshall, is he your... Are you his... Are you going out? Why do you want to know? I was just wondering what happened to him. A long time ago, when he was helping my sister do cases, he was so nice. He got along so well with my sister, it made me jealous. And he was nice to me too back then. This would be when Officer Marshall was a detective. But now, he's so cold. Jake and I are merely cooperating on this investigation. We're putting the past to rest, as it were. Nothing more than that. I see. Thank you. Officer Jake Marshall. Go take a nap, Yak. This game is only making you more exhausted. Where would Jake Marshall be? It's even busier here today than it was yesterday. The detectives are running around so fast it looks like they're blurring. I suppose it makes sense. A detective did get killed here after all. So the evidence room, the scene of the crime. According to the pamphlet we got at the front desk, here it is. She's like a kid at an amusement park. Oh, a real crime scene? Let's go take a look. Oh. Look at this man's office. What's with the decor in this place? It's very eccentric. According to the pamphlet, this is the guard station for the evidence room. So beyond that door is the evidence room. The scene of the crime. I'm sure it seems that way. Oh! What's wrong? It's those cacti! They're so prickly, so imposing. It's hard to think straight. If you can't handle the cacti, stay out of the desert. What I want to know is if this is the guard station, where is the guard? I have a feeling I know who he is already. There's a security guard uniform hanging here. It looks more like a costume than a uniform, honestly. A leather jacket, leather pants, a leather... What was that called again? A paunchy? A paunchy... A pinchy! I know, a poochie. Wait. Maybe that wasn't it. It's a poncho, but I think I'll keep that information to myself for the time being. It looks like there's a video feed from the evidence room here. There's a light blinking below the monitor. It says recording. I bet we could use this computer to check on who went in and out of there. Booze, huh? Lots and lots of booze. Yipes! They sure are prickly. They must be the real deal. I would think just the one would be sufficient. These cacti are a lot like my sister, actually. How so? Encased in a cold, rigid shell with spines pointing in every direction. Just like her. I'm not so sure I see the resemblance. It's more an attitude thing than a physical similarity. This swinging door makes the place look like some kind of saloon. But look, it's nailed shut. You can't get in that way. course not. If you went in through the cactus would fall over. Ouch! I'd say it'd be more of a yeah myself. Look on the floor. A lasso! Looks like it's set up to trap something. A trap? Here? Wait, I know. Maybe someone was trying to catch a wild bull in here. But the lasso missed. I'm sure you sure have an active imagination. The evidence room is beyond that door. Let's just walk in. It won't open. You thought it'd be open? I think we need someone's permission to get in there first. This place is charged with frantic energy as always. Please! Huh? Wasn't that? One steak lunch, please! Oh, it's you. Detective Gumshoe. Now's not the time for chit-chat, pal. I'm a busy man. What I really need is a steak lunch from Lunchland. Oh, you mean one of these? Actually, it's not for sale. I think I just heard the sound of his heart breaking. Now's no time for despair. We've caught our criminal. Now we just need evidence. The criminal? You mean... You heard about the stabbing in the police department evidence room, right, pal? On the same day that the detective was killed in a prosecutor's parking lot, another detective was killed at the police department. And the perpetrator? Do you have a suspect? Well, there was a suspect. Just arrested him, in fact. It's the biggest scandal to hit the station in ages. Everything's topsy-turvy. But Detective Gumshoe, who was it? Listen, pal, all I know is I need me a steak lunch pronto. Standing around here talking isn't gonna fill my belly. Wait, don't leave! If you want to know more, head on down to the detention center, pal. Questioning should be over, so I figure he's down there having a good cry. Later. Oh no. He ran off to the evidence room. I'm sorry, Sprightly. Well, this investigation is off to a running start. Wow, everyone looks deadly serious here. Well, there was a vicious murder of a detective down in the police department. Yes, but the same detective was also killed at the same time in the prosecutor's lot. Ugh, it makes my head hurt. Well, first things first. Let's go check out the police department's crime scene. Yes, you sound dead set on investigating. But don't mess up or we could wind up dead. I doubt anyone wants more mysteries or dead bodies around here right now. But it doesn't look like anyone's going to help us much either. The blue badger will live forever. And ever and ever. Still, I do feel better about things a little. I mean, they caught the person who stabbed Detective Goodman, didn't they? Yeah, I guess they did. Best not to get too far down that road right now. Things will just get confusing. Whee. What was that? Sir, that's what I'm saying, sir. Me? A perpetrator? I'd say I was the perpetrated against, sir. That's what I'd say. Yeah, I figured. Oh, hi. Greetings, sir. Wait, I know who you are. Excuse me, but is this Mr. Edgeworth, anywhere on the premises? I'm here, sir, at the request of the chief, sir. I've got your report, sir. Officer Meekins, so you're a guard here at the detention center? No, sir, I am not, sir. I'm a little lost patrolman like a little lost lamb, sir. Oh, I get it. You're here to deliver a report. No, sir, how should I say this? Wait, he isn't, is he? You... Officer Meekins, you didn't, did you? Perpetrator Officer Meekins reporting, sir. What? What? Now this is an unexpected turn of events. Oh, I hate that sound. Sir, I'm a patrolman with the general affairs. Sir! Ow, I can hear you fine, Officer Meekins. I had some business that day, and so I went to the evidence room, sir. The guard station is in front of the room was empty, sir. So normally there's a guard at the evidence room. That's right, sir, because evidence is kept in the evidence room, sir. Now the security officer was none other than Officer Marshall. Marshall? Then, sir, I happened to glance at the security room monitor. That's when I saw him, sir. A suspicious person in the evidence room. A suspicious person, sir. A suspicious person. What the heck is this guy doing? So what happened then? After that, sir, everything went white. I saw red. I blacked out. And when I came to, I was here, in the detention center. How long were you out? Days? Might I ask, what happened to your hand? Sir, there was no one to bandage me, sir. So I did what I could to wrap it up, sir. A bandage on his hand. Just like Miss Sky. Yet another similarity between this case and the one at the prosecutor's office. First things first. Tell us how you hurt your hand. I don't mean to pry, but are you the perpetrator? You are the perpetrator, correct? You killed Detective Bruce Goodman in the evidence room, right? Sir, but please don't look at me with those sad puppy dog eyes, sir. If you have to label me as a perpetrator or victim, sir, then label me victim. I would, but you happen to be in detention, and alive and well at that. Yes, well that's true, sir. I suppose you could say that. Did you know the victim, Detective Goodman? Well, sir, if I had to label him as a stranger, or a total stranger, then I'd say he leans heavily on the total stranger side. So you didn't know him? Sir, I work in a tiny department devoid of light or other creature comforts. I don't know any detectives. So if he was a total stranger, why did you stab him? Sir, I had no intention of killing him, sir. None. Nor do I have any recollection of killing him, sir. At least someone around here is more confused than I am. About your hand, did that happen during the course of the crime? Well, you see, sir, don't you think you should just confess? But but there was nothing I could do. Nothing you could do? Sir, to tell you the truth, sir, when it happened, when the detective pointed that knife at me, I just hollered, sir. And the next thing I knew, I was unconscious. The next thing you knew, you were... Then, when I opened my eyes, I was alone in the evidence room, all alone. Alone because Detective Goodman had disappeared. What? Then, when I looked down, I was gushing blood from my hands, sir. Oh, the shock, oh, the sorrow, sir. Can you imagine how I felt? The victim's body disappeared? That's some story. What am I supposed to do with you, Officer Meekins? Officer Meekins, this is for you. Eee! I'm scared of knives, sir. It's okay, I just wanted you to take a look at it. That's it, sir. Last night, sir. That's the one. I was an apple, sir, in my dream, and I was being peeled. On second thought, you don't have to look at the knife. He's overreacting to the knife, but I guess he's been through a lot. Officer Meekins, could you take a look at this? I'm sorry, sir. Really sorry, but I have no idea what that is. Maybe you should ask Mr. Edgeworth, sir. He's passing the buck, Mr. Wright. It takes a special kind of man to pass the buck to Edgeworth. Do you think you could take a look at this? Hey, that's it! That's it! That's it! What? That's what? My head was a blank until this very moment. But, sir, now I remember. I remember, sir. You mean you remember what happened? Correct! That card was the cause of it all. This ID card? Exactly, sir. That's exactly it. Nothing could be more exact, sir. Nothing. And better pry into his, this one a little deeper. Can you tell me what it is you do remember? Well, sir, you might say I'm a little, lost little patrolman. A lost little lamb, if you will. I I didn't know Mr. Detective Goodman. I didn't know Mr. Detective Goodman was in the evidence room, and that's why you thought he looked suspicious. Sir, I entered the evidence room and asked the man to show me his ID card. Well, that sounds pretty much by the book so far. That's right, sir. That's what I've been trying to tell you. So you asked Detective Goodman to show you his ID card. What did he do? That's the thing! Suddenly he pointed a knife at me. What? Sir, I assure you I was as flustered as you are right now. So I whooped and I leapt at him. Detective Goodman pointed a knife at him? Do unto others before they do unto you. My own father's words, sir. What happened then? Well, my eyes, sir. Everything went white. When I awoke, I was here. Right. So, Officer Meekins, why was it that they arrested you? What do you mean, Emma? Let's look at what we know. Now, Officer Meekins didn't know Detective Goodman, and the victim whom he met at the scene of the crime didn't show his ID card. In other words, we have no way of knowing if the victim was really the victim. And if this body just disappeared from the evidence room, we don't even know if anyone actually died. That's it, sir! That's what I wanted to say! That is, I did say something along those lines. Huh? But you still ended up here? They told me that it had been him, sir. On that day, at that time. Detective Goodman was definitely in the evidence room. That's what they said. But you don't remember the events clearly. No, but the videotape is quite clear. Huh? Videotape? From the security camera. The crime I swore to stamp out. It's there, it's me, it's on tape. And you waited until now to tell us this? I'm sorry, really sorry, sir. I hand over my badge. I don't deserve it. No thanks. I have my own. Well, I guess we better go check out the crime scene. Hey, Mr. Wright. Look who's standing at the Chief of Detectives' desk. It's Police Chief Gant. Oh, hell yes, hell yes. And you're sure about all this, hmm? You know what it means if there is anything missing? Sir, I'm sure it's most likely totally perfect. We checked all of his drawers, lockers, garbage cans, bags, coat pockets, hats, under his seat cushion, behind his computer monitor, inside his personal coffee machine. I see. Well, if anything does turn up, you call me right away, deal? Yes, sir. I'll scour the place again, sir. The Chief of Detectives looks a little flustered. Ha! Righto, my boy. How have you been? Swim much? Oh, Chief Gant. Reporting for duty, sir. Why are you saluting him, Mr. Wright? Oh, this is the music of an evil villain. Well, there's not a doubt in my mind. But I love him so much. Is Edgeworth going to be okay? Oh, Worthy, you know they're doing a little inquiry committee with him. Sounds like an inquisition. Well, yeah, well, they've had no end of trouble with the boy since last year. I mean, the incident of Gourd Lake. It doesn't look good having a top prosecutor sit in the defendant's seat, does it? And you got someone else found guilty in that case, righto? Von Karma. A legend he was, undefeated in his 40-year career. But in court you fixed it, so he was caught for forging evidence. Well, wait, I didn't do anything wrong. He did forge evidence. In any case, the prosecutor's office is in a bit of turmoil, you might say. Why, they do just about anything to restore their reputation. Now, depending on what that inquiry committee decides, it could be bad for Worthy. But what? It's downright odd, I tell you, that a detective getting killed on their turf, too. I mean, there being the prosecutors, I assume. Scientifically speaking, it's impossible. Yes, but what the evidence is saying... Goodman was stabbed in 2 locations at the same time. That's what it says. What evidence is this? Now, Righto, I can't give away all our secrets just like that. And this in particular, well, it's a little sensitive, and I can't talk about it. I wasn't expecting much anyway. You know, one thing I hate most of all is hiding stuff. Secrets. Can't stand them. But you know, It's a full-time job, just keeping the chief of detectives trap shut. He was the one you were picking on earlier. You saw that? Whoops. I wonder what it was that he wanted the chief of detectives to do. Let's see if we can kind of discreetly ask him. Yeah, this man is no good, but I love him so very much. And that's okay. Do you want this lunch? No, I would never feed you that woman's stuff. You're too good for it. I was wondering, could you take a look at this? Sorry, Righto. I'm through with that stuff. Through, I say. Go find a guy who can't seem to sit still out there, the busy one. The guy who can't sit still? Does he mean Detective Gumshoe? Either him or the dancing blue badger. Do you want to look at a little blue badger? I was wondering... Oh, okay. You don't want to look at anything. Do you want to look at my, Do you want to look at my badge? You don't even want to look at my badge? No special dialogue from a badge? Nothing, huh? This is obnoxious now. I can't even remember what I've presented anymore. I just don't know. Oh. I just might not have anything to show him right now. Alright. Well, I need to go. Nope, can't do that. There really is something I need to show this man, huh? Oh, sorry you had to see that. What exactly does the chief of police want you to do? Well, see over there? That's Goodman's desk. He wanted me to check it for anything that might be a clue. They took away every last piece of garbage in the trash can. So nothing belonging to Detective Goodman is still there. Of course not. Well, except for this. What? You kept something? Sure, why not? It's not important. He didn't even finish writing it. It's a lost item report, but it's only half complete. A lost item? Did Detective Goodman lose something? The date on this is February 21st. Better make a note of that, just in case. I should really get back to investigating the police department crime scene. Oh, okay. Now are we done here? Alright. Goodbye. Did he write his ID wrong? Nope. I don't know what to do here. Oh, there we go. Actually, I was wondering if I could ask you a favor. Well, I never thought the day would come when Wright would ask me for help. I was wondering if we could investigate the evidence room. Now, Righto. Actually, I'm sorry. I don't need to investigate after all. Righto, please. Do I look like a selfish man? Huh? Heck, if anyone asked me, sir, can I borrow $50? I'd give them $50 no problem. So go ahead, investigate the room to your heart's content. Knock yourself out. It just goes to show you never know until you ask. As for you, here, you can borrow this. Oh, hey, this is a detective's ID card, isn't it? That's a special card for guests, so don't lose it. Yes, sir, it's an honor. You just run along now and do your best. Later, folks. It looks pretty cool on my lapel, doesn't it? Just think, a real ID. You seem happy. Yes, sir, because, sir, we are going to go into the evidence room now, sir. I think this place is a bad influence on the girl. Emma, you right as hell, Sprightly. You've never been more right. Wait. Please, don't make this more difficult than it needs to be. The evidence room is beyond that door. And we have the ID card from Chief Gant. Let's just walk in. It won't open. Aha! The card reader is turned off, see? What is that security guard thinking? Howdy, partners. Well. What's made my Bambina's sky so gray? Officer Marshall! Why does it have to be him? What's that? Why does it have to be him look for? As you may have survived, this here's my saloon. We're here to investigate the crime scene. Yeehaw! That card you got there on your little chest. That's better than a sheriff's badge in these parts. Yeehaw! Well, what you standing there for? Get along, little doggies. Crime scene's awaiting. Looks like the card reader's on again. While we're here, I was wondering if we could ask you some questions. Sorry, cowboy, but I got no mind to tangle with you hombres. You're busy then? Did I say that? I only said I didn't wish to speak with you. Actually, you said you had no mind to tangle with us hombres. That smell. Aha, reminds me of Texas. So, Officer Marshall, you're from Texas. No, I just saw a special on television the other day. Is this from my baby? Yeah, Miss Starr. What's this? What? What's wrong? A fillet steak lunch. I see. I don't see it. I wonder what it means. Alright, Bambina. You win. Ask anything. Finally, it seems like he's willing to talk. Officer Marshall, you're in charge of security for the evidence room, right? You got good eyes, partner. It's an easy job, and I'm grateful for it. Actually, Officer Meekins at the detention center told us. Ah, that poor little doggy. Poor guy, I keep getting his name wrong and calling him Meekly. He told us something. He said that when the stabbing occurred, you weren't at your station. Well, maybe I shouldn't be telling you this, but since I got demoted from detective 2 years ago, well, it might not look it, but I lost my fire for the job, you know? So, what were you doing around 5:15 when the murder took place? Well, I reckon I was galloping down the highway on the back of my steed Zippy. Note, he was riding down the highway on his horse named Zippy. There's no need for people here anyhow. These newfangled machines do a bang-up job of keeping an eye on the place. You mean the security camera system? I don't take to machines much. Kinda like that stewed broccoli they sneaking into your steak, you know? Miss Starr told us something. She said that you were a detective until 2 years ago. It was always my dream to be a rawhide wrangler on the scene of the crime. That's all gone now, like a drinking hole in a prairie fire. You're still investigating the SL9 incident with Miss Starr, aren't you? That was my case. It's all solved on the record books, but it smells like a bad game of poker. I can't let it go. That's all there is to it. What kind of case was it, anyway? We've heard the name so many times, but no one tells us what actually happened. There are some things you're better off not knowing, Bambina. Anyway, that case is officially dead as of 2 days ago. 2 days ago? The day of our case? That's right. The evidence transfers. Edgeworth was talking about the transfers too. I know what maybe 2 of the machines in here do. Only 2 of them? There must be a dozen. Like I said, Bambina, me and machines, well, I like them about as much as I like stewed cauliflower with my steaks. The easiest ones to understand are these here security cameras. Those are the ones that Officer Meekins mentioned. If nothing happens, the tapes are automatically erased every few hours. And Officer Meekins and Detective Goodman, are they on one of those tapes? I reckon they might be. You're the security guard and you reckon? One more thing. When you go into the evidence room, you need an ID card. Thus the card reader by the door. The card reader leaves a record of every ID card that passes through. So this is the ID record. Hey, I've seen that somewhere before. Sorry, Bambina, I can't show you more than that. Huh? I haven't heard whether this is related to the case yet. Mr. Wright, I saw a number on the record just now. I've seen that number before. Maybe there's some way I can prove that record is tied to the stabbing. Sorry, but could you explain what the whole transferal thing is about? We keep only evidence from solved cases in this room. They're kept here under the presiding detective's supervision for 2 years, so we can reinvestigate them if it turns out there was a mistake, see? So what happens to the evidence after 2 years? It goes to sleep forever in the underground vault of the country sheriff's department. That's what we call transferal. We do it every February. I see now. Transferal is like a funeral for old cases. 2 years after a case is solved, it's closed forever. Dead. Never to be reopened again. Never to be reinvestigated. And that happened to SL9 2 days ago. See this? This is the victim's ID card. And the one that was on the ground in the parking lot. The number on this is 5842189. Officer Marshall, show us that ID record again. Look at the 4th number. It's a perfect match. It was used at 5:14, right before the stabbing. What's more, there's only one of them cards in the world. So when the incident occurred, Detective Goodman was in the evidence room. But wait, what did Officer Meekins say? Sir, I entered the evidence room and asked the man to display his ID card. So you asked Detective Goodman to show you his ID card. What did he do? That's the thing! Suddenly he pointed a knife at me! If he had his ID card then, why would he have pointed a knife at Officer Meekins? Alright, compadre, you win. I guess I can give you this ID card record. I've got an idea. Maybe I should show this list to other people with IDs here. I know, it's insane. It's quiet. The investigation must be over here. So this is the evidence room. It's really kind of like a graveyard. Graveyards are supposed to have grass and trees. This feels more like a morgue. Nice try, Mr. Wright. You can't scare me. Yeah, this is not a fantastic case. Eek! Whoa! Sorry, I thought you were a ghost. I wouldn't recommend going around smacking ghosts on the head, pal. So it's true what I heard. Righto, please, do I look like a selfish man? Heck, if anyone asked me, sir, can I borrow $50? I'd give them $50, no problem. So go ahead, investigate the room to your heart's desire. Knock yourself out. Yeah, it's true. So Chief of Police Gant. will loan anyone 50 bucks, even me. Oh, so that's what you were talking about. Actually, I was put in charge of the investigation for today. Just for today? Boss for a day. But guess what? You got permission from the chief, so now you're boss for a day. Gee, thanks. First of all, you'll want to have this. So, Detective Gumshoe, you're boss for the day. That's right, it's an honor. After all, the murder took place right here in the police department. But if you're boss, why are you all alone? Where are your underlings? They're using yesterday's findings to prepare for tomorrow's trial. In other words, you got kicked out of the investigation. Again. I'm adamant, though. I'm gonna take control and put this case to rest. In my own evidence locker, pal. You have a locker in here too, Detective Gumshoe. Of course. I am a detective after all. They gave me a locker that only I can open, pal. Only you can open? I'll always believe in Mr. Edgeworth, no matter what happens. So, Mr. Edgeworth is with the inquiry committee right now. They're trying to figure out who's responsible for the mess up in court today. I see. I guess this is what you call fate. Mr. Edgeworth just can't get away from that case. That case? Yeah, that case. The SL9 incident, of course. That was the beginning of the end for Mr. Edgeworth. Maybe we can get him to tell us more about the case. This place is more high-tech than you might think. Every locker is fixed so that only one detective can open it. Using their ID card. Well, that's the thing, pal. ID cards can be lost. Why, I'm on my 3rd card since entering the force already. That sounds like a lot. Yeah, but even I can't lose my own right hand. Right hand? Oh, you mean your fingerprint. Exactly, pal. The lock for each locker is coated with a fingerprint. So, the only locker we can open is our own. Funny, they look like normal lockers. These are the latest model. There's a trick to the handles, see? The handles? On the other side of the handles is a sensor, and if the wrong person touches it, zap! You get a shock. If that's what happened, my hand will be black and smoking every day. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. Could you take a look at this? This is the ID record, card record of the people who came here on the day of the stabbing. I heard the rumors. So it was Goodman who came in here at the time of the murder. Whoa! Well, what is it? The second number. It's not your ID number, is it, Detective Gumshoe? Mr. Edgeworth. What? The second number on this list belongs to Mr. Edgeworth. What? What? Why would Edgeworth have come to the evidence room? That's a good fucking question. There's something sticking out of here. Looks like a shirt. I guess it must be evidence for some case. I wonder if Detective Gumshoe put this here. There you go, pal, making me out to be some kind of slob. I'm not responsible for the evidence here. That said, I bet that evidence locker was opened recently. How do you know? If you leave things hanging out like that, the evidence gets dirty or ripped. The guard checks on that kind of stuff and notifies the detective responsible. How many times have I had him breathing down my neck about some silly evidence? Sounds like Detective Gumshoe leaves evidence hanging out a lot, too. I bet he doesn't tuck in his shirt under that trench coat, either. If you go and talk him behind someone's back, don't do it right in front of him, pal. Wow, look at this big pile of junk in the corner. That looks like a car door. There's a pair of handcuffs attached to the frame. Maybe the guy was caught in some sort of escape artist and he got away. Hey, that's one of those human profiles for range testing. He's been shot square in the forehead. Better him than us. Some sort of bulky equipment is gathering dust here. What a sorry-looking fishing pole that is. Ah, that's my personal pole! I never did get around to using it. Wait, I've seen that somewhere before. Right, pal, that's the metal detector. The one that led to the solving of the case at Gourd Lake, remember? Oh, right. Wow, that feels like it was ages ago. And, I don't think I've seen this one before. Oh, that's a bug sweeper. I'm sure it will come in handy in solving some case sooner or later. That cheap-looking box? You can't judge a person or a machine by their cover. You gotta look at their heart. I'm so glad that, Gumshoe's personal pull made a return. What's this? Blood? It's a little worn, but there's definitely a handprint here. It looks like someone tried to wipe it off. Mr. Wright! What if there are other blood stains left in this room? We should use her testing fluid to check it out. We will do that in a second. Wow, someone must have broken something big to make all those pieces. Detective Gumshoe, perhaps? There you go, pal, making me out to be some kind of hooligan. That's apparently from the case. The case? The SL9 incident, pal. See the sticker on the one piece here? Another piece of SL9 evidence. I wonder what shape the pieces were in before whatever it was broken. You want to try to put it back together? Ha! Good luck, pal. This is no job for amateurs. Why, I spent a good 3 hours on that before I had to give up. That's why I always carry around a tube of glue. Well, this piece looks like the bottom. Let's try putting the rest in place. Oh, fuck, really? Oh, God. Oh, I see. Well, this is the top. God, I wish I could zoom this in closer. I feel like a child. It's gotta be this. Huh? Well, I think we did it, but some of the pieces are missing. Yeah, I got that far in 2 minutes myself. The problem is finishing it. Were there some pieces stolen? I bet they were missing to begin with. Still, it doesn't look like the most stable kind of jar. I kind of understand how it got broken. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. I do my best. Someone left a glove here. But only one. Detective gumshoe, maybe? There you go, pal, making me out to be some kind of absent-minded detective. That's evidence from the case, you know? You mean SL9. It does have a tag on it. What is a saw and paint doing here? Since the dawn of time, true art has always been a war against oppression. True art? I noticed that there's a blue and yellow paint here. Perhaps we're witnessing the birthplace of the Blue Badger. Well, you might say this is my studio. Here? In the evidence room? Look, this one's open, and the red indicator light above the door is lit. The locker is coated with Detective Goodman's fingerprint. Detective Goodman's locker? Are you sure it's okay to leave it open like that? Well, it'd be hard to get it open again if we closed it. It's empty. They must have taken the contents elsewhere. I knew it! This is someone's right handprint. What? What's the matter, detective? This locker. It's mine! It's yours! Please! You have to help me when they come to take me away. Promise you'll testify that I wouldn't harm a fly. You'll do that for me, won't you, pals? This is an important clue. I'll jot it down on the floor plans. I'm counting on you guys. Believe me, you can't trust the police. What? But you're a detective! Is that everything? This place is stuffed with evidence. Stuffed with dreams. I'm not so sure about the dreams. Huh. It won't open. Did you really think it would? Hey, pal, our security is high-tech around here. If you put these pieces together, it makes a jar. There are two things that bother me. One, why are some of the pieces missing? Two, doesn't it seem a little unstable? No wonder it broke. I'll make sure to remember that next time I make a jar. I definitely think we got everything here. You have an ID badge, do you not? The sheriffs back in the Wild West didn't place much faith in evidence. About the only thing they trusted was their shooting hand. This is neither Wild nor West here. Ah, but that and this are two different things entirely. I guess so? Huh, I'm lost. Looks like we need some evidence to get anywhere with this guy. Well, we just found a bunch of evidence. The sheriff's... Ugh. Yeah. Oh my god. So none of the new evidence I have will unlock a conversation with this man. This is the only thing I can do with him. Yeah. I feel like we've done everything with him anyway. No, I'm done with you. Oh, he's not here. God darn it. Officer Meekins, could you take a look at this? I'm sorry, sir. Really sorry, but I have no idea what that is. Maybe you should ask Mr. Edgeworth, sir. He's passing the buck. Oh, okay. Well, I would assume Officer Meekins would have numbers on that sheet, considering he was in the evidence room. Fuck me, I guess. I have nothing to say to you. I really... Well, this place is as classy today as it was yesterday. And I'm sure it'll still be just as classy tomorrow, Emma. Incidentally, Edgeworth's not here. Fuck. I'm sure he's off doing important investigations. I hope that's what he's doing. I guess we'll have to come back. Holy shit, what am I missing? Something with Gumshoe. I don't even know what I could show Gumshoe. Allow me to say one thing, speaking as a detective. If I see a piece of evidence I know nothing about, I say nothing. Nothing. That's fine. You bet it's fine, pal. Ugh. I'm just exhausted by all of this at this point. And we are very over time anyway. This is my crowning achievement, my masterpiece, you might say. But art is always misunderstood, pal. Art? He was dancing around proudly on the day of the awards ceremony. But there were a lot of people coming and going after the ceremony. So they took the Blue Badger away for a while. Really? Why? Oh, they said it was shameful or something like that. Shameful! I toiled night and day! I sympathize with the Detective Gumshoe, but I can see why they moved it. Hello! Gumshoe gets no respect. No respect at all. Hey, that's it! That's the King of Prosecutors award Mr. Edgeworth got the other day. Were you at the award ceremony, Detective Gumshoe? Of course, pal, I got an award for diligence myself. Ah, congratulations. I was wondering why is the award a shield, and why is it broken? No, there's a reason. I'll tell you what it is later. Apparently, he's forgotten. So it was, yeah, then we talk about Edgeworth being on here. Yep. No, we already knew that. There's definitely, like, blood on here. Hey, look! They're hard to make out, but there are some dark red stains here. Looks like blood. Do you think a Detective Goodman's blood somehow got on this when he was stabbed? Not likely. This blood looks like it's been here for months, maybe longer. This jar was evidence in the SL9 incident. That might be when the blood got on it. Maybe. I can try doing that. Oh, hey! Sprightly's so smart. I'm just tired. I'm so tired. Oh! Why am I getting a reaction here? There's no reason for the murderer to touch this spot if he fled out the door. This just might be something significant. Hey, that's some pretty amazing stuff you got there, pal. What, this? It's called aluminum oil testing fluid. Where'd you get your hands on that? Huh? I'd like some too. I'll just borrow 50 bucks from the chief. Where do you get this, Emma? I always buy it by mail order. Well, I'd better jot that down on the floor plans. No, I am tired with this game. This must have been a massive pool of blood. Never seen anything like it. I'm not a professional. What's your opinion, Detective? Pale blue blood. Maybe Detective Goodman was actually an alien. This proves that something really happened in front of this locker. I'll make a note of it in the floor plans. Hey, if you didn't want my opinion, you shouldn't have asked. I think there can't possibly be a pool of blood. Okay. There's a lot of blood in here. We really haven't... I don't think Gumshoe will have anything to say about all the blood we found. Oh god. I don't actually know if I can save it. Oh, I can. I feel like we're almost done. I hate stopping mid-investigation. I'm already confused as it is when we stop. I just didn't think this investigation would be so long. Alright, we found all the blood. Can I leave? Will Mr. Edgeworth be in his office now? No. I don't know. I'm confused. And I am 30 minutes over time. So I'm going to have to call it here. Unfortunately, I don't like stopping mid-investigation, but I simply do not know what to do. This whole series, this whole case has been extremely convoluted. It is getting on my nerves just a little bit. I know. But we will persevere. I'll figure it out tomorrow. With fresh eyes, I imagine. There's something that I need to present, and the dialogue when you present the wrong thing is so long, and it takes up so much time, which makes me not want to present things. But that'll be it for me today. I'll be back with more Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Yeah, that's what Zath was saying too, that it's unnecessarily convoluted instead of being really tight like the other cases were. So it is what it is, and we will persevere. I will be back with more Ace Attorney at 2 p.m. EST, and I will be back in about 30 minutes or so with more Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire. I'm also lost in that game. Thank you. I'll get through it. I'm not worried, but thank you so very, very much for being here. If you are looking for more of me and what I do, you can find my YouTube, my Twitter, and my Discord all linked in my About page. My YouTube is actually 100% updated, so the very last stream I did was Final Fantasy XIV, and that is the stream that you will find on the YouTubes. And then tonight, both the Phoenix Wright and the Pillars of Eternity stream will be up there as well, so it will be 100% updated and not 2 weeks behind as it has been for since I started streaming. So thank you so much for being here. I hope to see you soon, and if not, I wish you all a very lovely afternoon. Goodbye!